Again, we're trying again. Hey, Miro. Let me post to my story real quick. Okay, hey Toya, hey Beatrice. Hi my loves, welcome in. Happy Sunday. We are trying this again. Oh, Garby's celebrating her B-Day today. Happy birthday to Garby. How old is she now? 22? Or 23? One of those two, right? Hi, Toya. Hi, Lambdy. Welcome in, y'all. Hey, Lene, she's 23.
Happy birthday.
Oh, no. Garby from Love the Games.
Oh, I don't give a fuck about me. I mean, not like that, but like,
Yeah, shit, y'all. Happy birthday to Garby, though. So glad she was free from that man before her birthday.
Happy birthday to her, you know.
What did you miss yesterday in the live? The live was really good yesterday. We talked a lot about what we thought were next steps for Michelle and for Alan. That live will get posted. I am going to try to wait until more people come in. I will tell you though, hey Boogie, hey Shania. I feel like I'm saying it right, Shania. But we did have at like the last hour of the live last night, I feel like it was like the last hour, a Chellacer came up and it was just she and I, and we had a conversation. That will not be being posted to YouTube. Because the agreement was, hey, dark skin lover girl, the agreement was that I would not post that to anywhere else. So unless you caught her live and you caught that conversation live, you just missed it. But she did come up and she shared with us and people were like, that was actually really insightful. To just chat with someone. I did agree. And I'm a woman of my word. So I downloaded the live. I think I downloaded it last night. So I have to chop off that in and then I will post it to YouTube. So y'all will see the panel and all of that, but you won't see that final conversation between me and her name was Judith.
Well, I have a screen recorded. I was just going to cut it off.
Oh, Chris has his screen recorded. Just kidding. He has his screen recorded with the comments. So he will just, so y'all will, nope, they won't even see the comment. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, dark skin lover girl. Thank you, Camille. Thank you for the gifts. I will give y'all a rundown. I'm trying to let more people come in before I say too much so I don't have to repeat myself. Hi, Jasmine. Hi, A. Welcome in, my loves. Hi, Raven. Welcome in. And then we do have some questions that got submitted. They were trying to go. It was so funny watching y'all in the comments, and I could only see some of them because I was trying to be like very tuned in to Judith. I was trying to like pay attention. Hi, Fanatic. I was trying to like be present, you know, in that conversation. But I know it was crazy to see me kind of how I sort of work. Yes, I was. No, not yet, Anika. So, you can't see the other comments on the live. Hey, Antoinette. That's weird, Beatrice. Well, when this gets reposted, it will have the comments. Hey, Sunflower. We are back, Gigi. I'm trying to wait, Anika, for more people to come in so that I can, oh, okay, you can see them now, so that I can give a synopsis one time. So we did have a Chellacer come in last night. That's who Judith is. That's who I'm talking about when I say Judith. Hi, Clet. Hi, Starfire. Hodan, I don't really want to answer that question right now, if I'm honest. If you ask it again later, maybe I will answer it. Hi, Alicia. Oh, B, I don't know. Did you say something else? I see you now. Only because, Hodan, I've talked about it for the last two lives. So, so I'm happy to talk about it, but I did talk about it for the last two lives, and I did make two videos, and I actually made them public. Look at me being a gracious queen. Judith was interesting. Oh, good afternoon, my love. Good afternoon. Yeah, sometimes it goes a little, I miss people. So thank you for saying it again. But yeah, I will post the live that had the panel. So the night before, on Friday night, we talked all about just sort of the breakup. Oh, thank you, Todd's Millennial Scheme. It is actually, I probably need to do wash day today. So thank you so much. So on Friday, we talked all about the breakup. On Saturday, we talked about like what people are kind of seeing post breakup. What do we anticipate? What do we think is going to happen with both Michelle and Alan? How is he going to respond, et cetera, et cetera. And then there were a shit ton of people in here. Thank you all so much for the gifts. Oh, that's so nice. Not interesting. Anika, what it is, I'm trying to hold it. I'm trying to hold it for as long as I can. I'm trying to hold it. Okay. I'm gonna respond to that. And then yesterday we talked about like what was coming after. And then we had a Chellacer fan, who also shared that she does like Nick and Alandria, but has some feels about Nick. But I tried to not spend any real time talking to her about Nick and Alandria. And I really tried to just focus on Shelly and Ace. That goes along with the video that I most recently posted about this whole breakup. I really am not personally, and y'all know that I say I don't really align with any fandom in particular, but I do really like Alandria and Nick. I do really like those two together. So if I had to pick that, I would probably say like, yeah, I do align with their coupling a little bit more. Oh, thank you for saying that. But I did say in my last video that I really have no desire to do like y'all called them, like I have no desire to like compare Michelle and Alan to Nick and Alandria personally. And I've seen a lot of that on Threads, especially a lot of people talking about the breakup and then being like, oh, well, y'all called Nick and Alandria PR. And I'm like, listen, the people that say that are going to say that no matter how long Nick and Alandria last. Like, so it's you're appealing to the logic of people that have demonstrated they don't have logic. No shade. It is shady. I'm not gonna lie. It's shade, right? Like you're appealing to the logic of people that have already demonstrated. Thank you so much for the gift that they don't have that. And so we're not going to do that. You know what I mean? So when we talked last night, thank you, Starfire. When we talked last night, I really tried to like not, like people were asking, like they wanted me to ask Judith questions about Nick and Alandria. And I was like, no. Listen, they still call Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union's partnership PR. Listen. Oh, I'm so happy to have you back. Hello. I do too. Listen, I just Meldy, like, and I'm not a fan of people acting like, because I've seen this on Threads too. Hi, Danielle. I actually saw it in one of my mutuals in her comment section. It was actually some Chelacers like flip-flopping, which very weird in my opinion. I feel like people, but I say this a lot, right? I say this a lot that I feel like a lot of times people are defending themselves when they think they're defending the couple that they like, right? It's really about defense of themselves. So like I saw people saying things like, oh, well, Taylor and Clark are the only real couple now, you know, like Taylor and Clark should have won. We only ever saw, thank you, Simone. We only ever saw Michelle and Alan together when it was work. Same things that like they say about Nick and Alandria, right? And I'm just not with that shit. I'm not with that shit. I feel like you should stand 10 toes. If that's who you was riding for, then baby, ride for them still. Like, I want y'all to just get on the train that like, sometimes things end. Sometimes things end. You know what I'm saying? Oh, thank you so much for that, Curry. Sometimes things end. It doesn't mean it wasn't good while it was going. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not with that shit. I'm not with that shit. So the people that are acting like, oh, but see, it's just because it was always fake. Y'all are full of shit. You don't actually think that. You just want to act like now you always believe that. I literally had someone come into my comments, y'all. I kid you not. And I have the screenshots. Don't you worry. The video is coming. I have the screenshots. But someone came into my comments when I made my initial before the reunion take, right? And I was like, saying everything. Thank you so much for my shirt comments, y'all. Thank you. I have so many Spider-Man shirts. It's like ridiculous. I love a t-shirt. I love a little comfy t-shirt and some leggings. Okay. But anywho, let me stay focused. When I made that video, someone came into my comments and all they said was, Shelly and Ace are gonna last. And all I said was, okay. And they were like, hey, Samantha. They were like, you just don't like them, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, there's no reason for you to believe that I don't like them. If you've watched my actual content, I defended, I'm going to say them. I would be on Alan's head during the show. I'm not gonna lie, because he was doing shit that needed to be critiqued. But y'all know how I am. I will critique even people that I'm like, I like this person. I definitely had a shit ton of critiques for Alan during the show. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm not gonna be dishonest about that. And I did not dislike the man. There was just behavior that I was like, that's weird. You're not that late, Kay. Anywho, I said to this person, I was like, literally all I said in the video, oh, Haven says hi. I was like, literally all I said in this video is that they have the recipe, but they need to do the work. Like, I'm just whatever, you know? Why did this person come into my comments? Because you know I'm a petty ass bitch, right? So are my followers. So when the news broke, one of the people that follows me went to their comment and was like, so I'm wondering if you have anything you'd like to add. And I responded back and I was like, I love doing this shit to people. Like, I think it's so funny to be like, so are you standing on that business now or what? But then they came into my comments, y'all. This is the part that's like unwell for me. This is the part where I realized people are unwell, because they came in the comments and they were like, right about what? All that I ever said was that they needed to work on their communication and something else. Like the things that I had explicitly said in my video, they need to work on their communication and being on the same page. That's what I said. I said that if they had done that, then they were like, if they had just done that, they would have worked. And I was like, so exactly what I said in my video that you tried to act like I was being crazy for saying. Now you're admitting that if they had done that, they would have worked. Screenshot. Like, exactly, Mel D. How you reheating my nachos on the actual video where I said it, like. So I've seen a lot of Chellacers trying to pivot, and I don't like that. I feel like if you're going to be down for them, then be down for them. But a lot of them are pivoting because they're not actually worried about defending Michelle and Alan. They're worried about defending themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I had this take and I don't want to be wrong or admit that I was wrong. And so I'm going to find a way to say, well, we did only see them when it was work. Nah, bitch, because you wasn't on that shit when they was a couple. So don't try to be on that shit now. Don't be weird. Don't be weird. Just admit that when you were looking at them, you were hoping and praying it'd be you one day, because a lot of you all are young enough where you grew up with social media, right? I need people to remember that me and a lot of people that watch me, we were around when social media was invented, okay? So we knew how to interact with people in real life. We knew how do you read body language? How do you do social cues in real life? And so we know that a like on social media, a follow on social media, that doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean shit. All my boomers, all my Gen Xers, all my millennials. I am so old, y'all, that I remember when you had to have a college email and an invite to get on Facebook. That's how old I am. So like, dial-up internet old, okay? So it's like, I need y'all to just admit that you were watching social media, you were watching these curated images and thinking that all the rest of us were just being bitter ass bitches that are, cause y'all are ageist as fuck, Chellacers, right? They're ageist as fuck. That is almost always what they go to, is being ageist. Right? You bitter ass old bitches. What that one girl called us in my comments the other day, spinsters. You spinsters. She was so mad. And it's like, y'all go to that every time. You rather believe that we are angry and bitter than to be like, you know what, they're older than me. Like, maybe they're seeing something I don't see. Listen, Hotmail, is that even a thing anymore? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like they use auntie as an insult and unk as an insult, not realizing those are actually terms of endearment and of reverence in our community, which is why y'all bitches need to stop appropriating our shit. But that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation. So it's like, I need y'all to understand and just stand on, I let myself get duped by social media. I let myself believe that social media was the end all be all. That's my bad. And it doesn't mean that you can't have enjoyed them as a couple while they were a couple. Y'all don't have to now try to like pivot and try to like protect your honor or your ego or whatever it is that you think you're protecting by now trying to act like, oh, well, Chellacer was always fake anyway. They were always only out when it was this or that. Y'all wasn't singing that tune when they was together. Y'all was telling us we was bitter bitches for saying that. So now you a bitter bitch too? Or does it just not apply? Like, I just... No, I don't want to hear that shit. I need y'all to just stand on what the fuck you said. Listen, the paper clipping... The goalposts be moving. I don't know. I used to do Pop Warner Cheer. And one of the things we would do when they got a person saying, move the chain, move the chain. I don't even think they have people out there moving the chain no more. That's how old I am. Okay. Like, they be moving that goalpost, baby. So yeah, I'm not here for that shit. So yeah, like, listen, not even just call me after 6. I'm call me after 9 old. We gotta hurry up and make this conversation. We gotta hurry up and get this out because this is a long distance call and I pay a different rate up than local call.
For real, nigga.
I'm text messages. I remember when they went to 10 cents and we was like, that's a good deal.
Nigga, we're rotary phone old.
We had
rotary phone is. The fuck, you know what a rotary phone is? That's how old we is. We old that you had to call. There was one phone in the house, and the cord was 100 feet long, but you had to
listen,
answer that phone and ask the parent to speak to the child.
Yellow book and white book old, okay?
Right.
I'm Thomas Guide old. Pull out the Thomas Guide to figure out what's the cross streets and what's the number. I'm that old, and I don't give a fuck. I'm honored, but they try to use that shit as an insult. But now you parroting the same shit the aunties was saying and acting like it was your original thought. Don't play with me when I got you in 4K saying something else.
Nigga, TV guy, you had to wait for the TV guy to come in the mail old. To know what was gonna be on TV, nigga. You better stop playing.
When the guide on the TV that was rolling, that was like an invention. Like, right. Okay, I can turn on this channel and it's gonna show me everything coming on TV. Nigga. I'm that old. I'm hit the side of the TV and adjust the antennas. Oh, don't play with me.
Put a metal hanger in the goddamn antenna. And some aluminum foil to get the reception.
So it's like and y'all want me to be sad about that. You want me to act like that's something that you can now use as a weapon against me. Listen, not blowing the Nintendo 64. Oh, but now y'all are up here saying the same shit that we were saying and trying to act like it was your original thought. Don't do that. Stand on what the fuck you said about your couple when that was your couple.
No TV, nigga. If it rains or snow, y'all better have some books or some games, nigga.
Listen, okay? Whew, okay, so listen,
duck,
y'all.
Hey, I fucked with the duck game, hey.
Exactly. exactly. 30s and 40s is not old, right? But the reality is, right, that we have, those of us that have had those sorts of experience, exactly, we actually really did touch grass. We actually do know what it's like to have to be in the real world, engaging with people outside of just being at work, right? We're of the age where it's like you can't just be at work and be on your phone ignoring people. You actually have to interact. When you're at school, you actually have to interact. You know what I'm saying? Or don't. And it was always obvious when you did it, right? So it's like we're not looking at social media and being like, wow, that is a beautiful relationship. Like, we know that that's not quite enough. It's a part of the story, but it's not the whole story. And now y'all are mad because what we said was right. And now too many of y'all are trying to pivot, and I'm not with that shit. I'm not with that shit. You're going to have to stand on what you said. You're going to have to stand on what you said. And if you actually liked them, let's keep it a buck. If you actually fucking liked them, you wouldn't have no problem standing on that shit. You would be like, damn, you know, I thought it was going to be longer, but, you know, they had a really great run together, blah, blah, blah. High Vibe Lounge, like, that is what you would be on if you really liked them. While y'all talking about he Mr. Stand on Business, clearly not his fan base. Y'all standing on business as much as he did. Because in that red carpet interview, we been good. Yeah, y'all stand on business just like him. Okay, it's enough of y'all in here now where I can give you the recap. Y'all ready? Listen, Sim Senior. Shame. Like, that's what y'all should feel.
Kehlani hit me.
Don't put your hands on your brother.
Why are you on live again?
Because it's Sunday and I always go live on Sunday.
Jesus, keep up.
I'm no assistant.
How you the assistant manager?
Why did you hire this?
I'm the assistant manager with no pay.
Well, you got to do a job, sir.
Nigga, you ain't gave me a job.
Nigga, I'm your manager. You're my
you need to go to the manager and ask what you're supposed to do.
Give me a job.
Your job is to send me $15 so I can get some food.
All right, my job.
It sounds like exploitation manager.
My job will be.
You want to help Daddy with re-uploading to the YouTube? The live
how much am I getting paid for that?
That's his job.
How much am I getting paid?
I don't know. We could talk about a fee, but can I get back to the audience?
Let her do her job. Oh my God.
Please.
I mean, you're the one that, like, you know, you.
Well, you came in and started talking to me.
I really was talking to anybody who wanted to answer.
You were just talking to the air.
Yeah,
okay.
I was talking to my father actually.
Okay.
And you decided to pitch in.
Listen, Anika, why is the manager clocking him about it? Okay. Okay. Let's talk about the recap. Okay. And I'm trying to approach this with a lot of, I was trying to be very intentional about it last night. Oh, dang, they already left. That was the manager and assistant manager. They did tell me. They don't be playing with me. That's okay. I like it. I'm a fan of raising my children to be competent adults that can express themselves when they leave my house. So that means they have to practice with me. Okay. So last night we had a Chellacer come up, and if I'm missing things, y'all let me know. Okay? Let me know.
Like up the live.
Okay, Chris said like up the live. And then we're going to open up this panel, y'all. But if I miss something, let me know. So we had a Chellacer come on. She was Canadian. She was Nigerian because people did ask those questions. Well, they asked about her being Nigerian. She brought up herself being Canadian as to like maybe that's why some things were a disconnect for her around how we understand things versus like maybe how she understands things. My YouTube name, good question, is CX Lemon. It's my same name on here. And if you click my face and go to the links, you can actually just click the link directly to my YouTube. Not you were genuinely Michelleing the whole time. Here's what I heard, okay? I'm going to give my interpretation of what I heard. People in the comments that were here, if I am misunderstanding, please remind me. Please feel free to correct me. Also, Judith, I don't know if she's in here, but if I get anything wrong, feel free to correct me. I'm happy for you to do that. Will not offend me. period, not Botswana. Oh, hi, Judith. Judith is here, y'all. And Judith very bravely came up and shared really transparently about her perspective. What I will say, and I said this to Judith, so I'm repeating some of the same things I already said. A lot of what I heard from Judith was she is ultimately in a sort of conundrum. She feels very sort of conflicted, right, about where she wants to stand present day with Alan and Michelle. And she has felt like this since the interview with Speedy, because what she respected, Yana, I will be doing some subscriber only videos soon. Yes. One of the things that she respected about Alan is that she always felt like Alan was someone that was a straight shooter, a straight pew-pewer. He would give it to you exactly how he meant it. Like, he would say the thing that was a hard thing, even, you know what I mean? Like, those were things that she respected about him. And when the interview happened with Speedy, she felt like that sort of made like a hit on her perception of him, because it was clear that Nick was not clear. And so that made her then realize, like, maybe you're not as direct and honest as I think that you are. I'm just telling you my perception of her synopsis first before I say anything. So she shared that part of it. She shared that, like, she also did feel an obligation to, like, offer some cover and protection to him as a black man. She does feel like black men don't get enough protection. And so she wanted to not be a person that contributed to, like, the dogpiling on a black man. So that was important to her. She also did share, and I don't want y'all to judge her for this. I mean, do whatever you want to do, right? But, like, she did share really, because she didn't have to say this. She chose to say it. She did share very transparently that, like, she found herself attracted to Alan, and that she did feel like, when I asked her directly, she did feel like that was part of what allowed her to be sort of like on the train for Michelle and Alan. She also did talk about the fact that she related a lot to Michelle. She also related to Alan, right? Sorry, y'all. She related to Alan as far as like she perceived Alan as someone that went onto the show and was having the experience. I think that's the words that she used. Like, he was doing the experience of the show, and that she would, because she said, I would go on the show if I was a girl like that, right? So there's also a part of her, she was 28, she's 28 years old. So there's also a part of her that's like, in some ways, like, I almost like wish I could do that, right? But I know that I'm not the type of girl to do that, right? But if she had gone on the show, then she would have also done the experience the same way that Alan was doing the experience. Like, she would have wanted to be in Fiji around all these hot people. I think that's what she said, these hot guys, right? So she talked about how she related to that. She also talked about how, like, him doing the dates for Michelle, she really liked that. It felt like, to her, the way that she registered that was, he's listening to what she likes, and then he is doing the things that she's saying that she likes. Like, he must really like Michelle. She did say that she had some judgment for Michelle around how in the world are you, like, attracted to, like, this such a young guy. Like, I can't imagine myself, because her and Michelle are the same age, being with a guy that young, but that over time maybe this changed for her. What else do I want to name about what she said? She did say that, like, she had Cupid, we are talking about the Chellacer that came up, because I'm giving a synopsis of what she said, because I don't plan to post her on YouTube. I'm going to get to that dark skin up girl. She also did say, because I asked her, I said, do you think that you are accustomed to, like, men in your life, whether romantic or platonic, really doing, like, the bare minimum, like, just really doing the bare minimum? And so then you perceived Alan as this step above, like, being really exceptional. And she was like, absolutely, that felt true for her. She talked about a conversation with a sibling, her brother, where he was like, you know, almost, I think I remember it as like, the brother was almost like endorsing Alan. That's how I think I remember it. If I'm remembering that wrong, they'll correct me. like endorsing some of Alan's behaviors, like pointing out things that he was doing that he perceived as like good behaviors that like other men would not be willing to do. She also did compare him to like how Austin, oh, thank you so much, to how Austin and I think she said Zach, and the way that they handled Amaya, that she liked that Alan said the thing directly to Amaya because these other men did not. I'm just telling you what she said. I'm not telling you my opinion about any of it. Okay. And so that was, again, like something that made him exceptional to her. She did also say that she has not been in a romantic relationship yet. And that she unfollowed Alan. Love Note 89, I'm giving a synopsis of the Chellacer that came up last night and had a conversation, just she and I. She has not been in a romantic relationship yet. And she did say that she unfollowed Alan. And I want to think that she said that she had blocked him, but that she also watches some of his stuff. So I don't know if she unblocked at some point. I don't know if I'm clear about the timeline on that. Yeah, and that ultimately, okay, thank you, Judith. And that ultimately she like wishes them well. But ultimately, I think what Judith said, what I took the most out of, like, it's a lot, right? But what I took out of it as like the bigger overarching picture is that she has a lot of information that feels conflicting. That's like affirming of her wanting to like him. And like them, she considers herself more of a fan of Shelly than she does of Alan, but like wanting to like them both, but also things that feel icky about Alan specifically that she named. And she did say as well when it came to like the Sierra relationship with Michelle, because I did ask explicitly, like, does she think that Michelle like was hurt by that relationship? Because this got asked in the comments. And does she think that Michelle like should have like kind of taken a stand, like, okay, I'm not fucking with you because you did these things. And she was like, I think like she would have not wanted her to be so publicly a friend to 404 without 404 like resolving the behaviors more publicly. I feel like I am giving a pretty good synopsis of that. Did I miss anything? Am I misremembering anything? Judith, you're in here, so you can tell me like yes or no. Hi, Ginger, and anybody else. Ooh, shit. She did about the Speedy interview. She said, I know Moonlight. She said that that was the moment. Okay, you think it's a good synopsis. Okay, thank you, Judith. She said that she felt like the Speedy interview was the moment for her where she felt like, oh, like maybe these things that I think about Alan are not true. Maybe these things I think about Alan are not true. That he's someone that speaks openly, that speaks frankly, that, you know, says the hard thing. And she finds a lot of value in that, right? But it was clear in the Speedy interview that Nick was not clear where he and Alan stood. And so that made her start to sort of question Alan. I'm going to ask a question. I'm trying to be very gracious, truly, which I think I'm generally pretty good at. I know that a ton of people in here watching had questions. They wanted to talk about it. They wanted to give their opinions about it. I didn't really give an analysis of what I heard. I just asked certain questions and asked if like what I was hearing versus like, you know, if that was accurate, like, cause I was kind of hearing some things underneath it. And Judith did confirm all of those things. No, I don't actually want to whack you, Judith. I can't speak for the people that might come on the panel. And so that's why I'm like, I actually do want to be mindful, because I know that you're in this space. Like, I don't want you to feel dogpiled on, I guess, you know? And we did ask her, do we think that Sanrio, that's a great question. Something that we asked Princess Pepperoni. I had a Chellacer come up and we chatted last night. We asked her if she thought that the protection of Black men should come at the expense of Black women, and she said no. I will say, yeah, I think it was really brave of her to come up. I want to know if you're okay with me giving my thoughts. You can disagree with me. I'm okay with that. Thank you so much for 75,000 likes, 77,000 likes.
Let's keep going.
Let's keep it moving. I do think anyone brave enough to go up and speak their mind as well deserves kudos. I agree, because y'all know, Nana, what are you even talking about? Do you know? You about to get blocked, probably.
Especially because people like that. People like that. They get in the comments and they talk shit, but they're not brave enough to come up.
Yeah, it's like you get in the comments and you talk shit, but then you don't want to come up here. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Judith, right?
Yeah, Judith.
Yeah,
like Judith came up here and had a conversation with me. No, it's totally fine. Like, you don't have to be sorry. And like, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if Shello is here. If Shello is here, they're probably going to be quiet. Judith did stand her ground as much as y'all were like, huh? What? Right. They came in all loud, proud, and strong. Leave Shelly and Ace alone. We're not even talking about them. We're talking about Judith. Be quiet. Golly. Not you are so funny, Star. Bye. I think that Shello is really young, and so I don't think that they would ever come up. Gigi said the next goal is 100,000 likes, and y'all have 10 minutes to get there, or she's cutting off the comments, just so you know, if you didn't see it. So I will say this. I think that maybe Judith left. I will say this. This is my perception, is I think that what I heard was a lot of like cognitive dissonance and a real struggle, which I don't think is actually abnormal. I think that when you want to like someone and then you have information come in that contradicts wanting to like that person, it can be really hard to decide what you're going to do with that information. So to me, oh, Judith is still here. Yay. I just think that like what I heard was a lot of like, I don't really know what to do with this information because I want to like them. I want to protect them. I want to feel like this about them. And I feel conflicted because of these other things. I think that that is to be expected, honestly, of any Black woman being raised, I'm going to say in the United States, but honestly, anywhere. If we're honest, right? If you live in a culture of Blackness, especially if you live in a country where whiteness is seen as elite or supreme or top tier, you know what I'm saying? You are going to be taught to protect. Judith said, I am genuinely confused. You are going to be taught to protect. And if you are a Black woman, you are definitely going to be taught to protect Black men. This is why in the United States, I can speak to our numbers. I don't know about other places, but probably true elsewhere as well. We are least likely to report our grape as Black women because crime is intraracial, meaning you are more likely to be crimed and raped included, right, by someone that looks like you. Right? And so because, somebody's being disrespectful in the comments, I don't see it. Okay. Because that is true and we are taught to protect Black men, we are least likely to report our grapes as Black women. Because we are taught to protect Black men, even to our own detriment sometimes, even at our own expense. Now, obviously, yes, there are other layers that definitely go like that add to that, right? Like distrust of 12, all other sorts of things, right? Don't get me started on that, but we know the system is not great, but that is a factor. Right. And so I think that what I heard from Judith last night was a lot of that, a lot of what a lot of us are already raised in anyway. And this is something to unlearn. Right. This is something to decide, does that story actually fit for me anymore or not? Right. Exactly. Meg and what happened with her. Perfect. We watched how people did that situation, right? Even when she didn't want to. Why? Because she wanted to protect. Despite the cost to her. And she was right to, okay, Gigi's giving y'all a 2-minute break. Take a break on your thumbs. She wanted to protect. And she was right to think that way because as soon as the DA, because if you don't know, in Los Angeles, they don't actually give a fuck what you want to do. They decide whether or not they're pressing charges. They decided they were going to move forward. She got all of the vitriol about that. How dare you not protect a Black man? She's just this, she's just that. Do you understand? So I think that Judith is living under a system that teaches her that. And that's not specific to Judith. That is specific to Black women. Period. right? So I heard some of that happening, right, in the conversation. I think also Judith was very brave to own, like, that there's a level of attraction for her. Wait, they're being rude to each other. Hey, Boogie, how am I missing it? Well, because I'm trying to focus. Sorry. That I think was very honest of her and brave of her to admit that there's a level of attraction that might make her afford him more cover. And this goes back to, what do I tell y'all all the time, right? This is why, Judith, you get to be our case study in real time. But this is why I tell y'all, right, that that when people see people in power, and this actually goes to one of the questions I have today that someone gave me about the Diddy documentary. When people are in power, which we know is attached in capitalist countries, right, is attached to wealth, is attached to whiteness, is attached to attractiveness, right? And that being closer to whiteness is more, you're gonna be seen as more attractive the closer you are to whiteness, right? So the fact that Ace is a little light bright with dimples, you know, he is conventionally attractive. People see him as having clout. People see him as having like pull, you know what I mean? You're going to want to align with them. And that's not, most people are not making a conscious choice to do that. It is instinctual. And I give y'all the example all the time. Okay, cute. I give y'all example all the time. Exactly. Social capital and status. I give you the comparison between Meg Thee Stallion and Glorilla and the makeup artist. And what do I say? Lots of people did not have smoke for Glorilla about how she talked to her makeup artist, but people had smoke for Glorilla when it came to Meg. And while we can say, yes, Meg has more fans, Meg was right, a lot of that is also attached to the power dynamic. The makeup artist had less power than Glorilla, but Meg has more power than Glorilla because she has more fame, more wealth, more social status, more social capital. So people wanted to align with Meg being correct and Glorilla being wrong, and they did not have any smoke and align with Glorilla over the makeup artist. Do you understand? So it doesn't shock me. A little bit, Mish, yes. The end part of it, yes. It does not shock me that Judith is living under a system that has primed her to do this, right? Again, this is part of the work that you do in therapy, that you can do in college, whatever, right? Where you start to make things visible that have previously been like mystified, like you don't really know what's happening. You just are kind of moving through the world. And then you start getting more information and you start realizing like, oh, like I was actually taught to believe that. Do I still want to believe that? So she was I thought it was, when she mentioned like, yes, his attractiveness did make me maybe offer him a little bit more cover. That's not something specific to Judith. That's not unusual. It's not uncommon. She was just willing to say it out loud. Right? The other thing that I thought about was when we talked about that bare minimum, and I asked her, right, like, do you have typically men in your life that are doing like bare minimum, not really like doing a whole, not really making the effort? And she's like, yeah. And so seeing Alan do these things felt like, oh, he's making an effort. You know what I mean? Like he's listening to her and he's doing these things, right? And so she got stuck on the imagery, which again, not uncommon. And I tell y'all, this is why people validated Kenny and Janae more than they validate like a Nick and a Landria, right? Because they don't get to see what they think they should see in order to make that relationship valid in their minds, right? So she's watching it play out, and Judith has yet, maybe, sounds like it to me, to get to the space where she gets a little bit underneath that. Because what I would say, and I've made a video about this, right? What I would say is he did all of that, and y'all know, I talked about this, right? He did all of that when Austin was his competition. And we all know that Austin was not competition. Not for real, if we're keeping it a buck, right? But once they got back from Casa and Chris was actually in the villa and they might have actually had to tussle for Michelle, he didn't know at the time that Chris was a lazy lover. He didn't know that, okay? He didn't know that. And And so when he saw that, what he said to Taylor in that sauna was, I don't lose. That's what he said. But then you did not watch Alan plan any more dates after Casa. Go back and watch it. You did not see that man plan any more dates for them. You saw Michelle plan the date on the dock to reinitiate healthy conversation after their conflict during the heart rate challenge. And you watched Michelle do the s'mores date. And then what did he say? Now she's worthy. Now she's worthy. And then when he asked her to be his girlfriend, or not his girlfriend, to close off, my bad. To close off, he wrote an entire poem about himself. But it can be hard if all I'm accustomed to are using the physical demonstrations, just what are these gestures? Gestures mean more. I may not be able to take off those glasses and see the whole story. And I think that she's no different than a lot of other, Judith is no different than a lot of other Chellacers, right? Okay, Boogie, Gigi is just giving y'all like a break where, okay, like you don't have to tap right now, and then she'll let you know when the clock starts again on the tapping. So it's like you have to be willing to see the whole story. Right? Yeah, can I talk to my ball? Right? And so it's like they don't always see all of that. You know what I'm saying? And I talked about it. I talked about how I really didn't like him post Casa, how he was navigating their relationship post Casa. I said that. And what I said to y'all was that I did not appreciate how he was doing really poor communication. And I talked to y'all about how she really held a lot of space for him emotionally, even though she was the person that was wronged during the heart rate challenge. Because whether I told you or not that a girl shouldn't have her face on your ass while you spread her butt cheeks, you should just fucking know that. You should just know that. I should not have to explicitly say, hey, can you make sure that no one puts their face on, puts their ass cheeks on your face and you spread their butt cheeks? Can you make sure that you don't do that? So she was the person that was violated. And what did he do? He flipped it to how he was upset. I'm hurt because you doubled back on Chris. He wasn't hurt. But see, this is why you got to learn to pay attention to those other signs, right? Because when he came to sit down next to her, he had a smile on his face until he looked and saw she didn't think that was funny. Then his energy shifted, and then he found something to be upset about. It was a reverse. Now I'm the victim. You're the offender because you doubled back. But you need to be able to spot that. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not able to spot that. And I'm gonna say something that is going to feel harsh. It's going to feel harsh. I don't mean for it to. It literally is just a fact. When you have been taught to center men and to center the patriarchy, he's automatically more right because he's the man. He's attractive. I perceive him as having more clout. He has more whatever. When you've been taught to do that, you are subconsciously going to align with that man and whatever he's saying. So then he became the victim in the situation. And when Michelle listened to him express his emotions, even though it was bullshit. And when she tried to express the next day about how I just feel like maybe we need boundaries, blah, blah, blah. What did he say out of his mouth? What was the first thing he said out of his mouth? In the edit that we got, we know it was edited. What did he say? That doesn't make you right. Because it's about who's right and who's wrong. It's not about my feelings. It's not about my emotions. It's about being right or being wrong. And so being able to pick up those things in your relationship dynamic matters so that you don't get played for the fool. But too many people saw that man moping around and felt bad for him, right? And something that Judith named, right, is that she actually liked that he continued to bring her a flower with her breakfast every day, even though he was upset. And I would actually say it was giving manipulation. Cause either put a motherfucking smile on your face and bring me my breakfast or leave me the fuck alone. But you done spent 4 episodes, his words, not mine. You spent 4 episodes. Exactly, P. You spent 4 episodes being like, here, damn. I'm so hurt by you, but look at me being the bigger person. No, you're not being a bigger person. Put a fucking smile on your face and bring me my shit. Or get the fuck and I'll make my own breakfast. Right? It was giving, even though you've hurt me, look at how I show up for you. It was giving manipulation. And so we have to teach our girlies, right? We have to teach our girlies to be able to spot that shit. Because why are you making me feel bad about some shit that you did? At that point, just don't bring the shit. That's weird. Right? But people struggle to identify that because the performance of, well, he brought her the breakfast with the flower. And so you missed what was happening underneath that. I know that people say that they felt like Shelly was wrong in that situation too. I disagree. Actually. I disagree. I actually don't think that they were equally wrong in that situation. I think that he was wrong and then he tried to flip the script. And you need to be able to spot when, okay, 5-minute break, y'all. You don't have to tap for the next 5 minutes. I think that he flipped that. Oh, I wrote for Michelle on every single live I was on. This is before I was doing my own lives. I would ride for Michelle. She was not wrong. Right? So these are the things that I think that I heard, that those were like the extra questions. And they're like more personal questions that I would have asked, like if we were in a therapy session, you know what I mean? But that like, those were the things that I think that Judith maybe like missed or didn't see was informing the way that she feels about this couple. And explicitly, I'm going to say about that man. Right? That those things, all the things she said as well, because she was very reflective about a lot of things, but there are also all these other things that are like not conscious that were also informing the way that she feels about Alan and how she perceived him and Michelle's dynamic. Oh, it's okay, Judith. I'll post this one, babe. So those will be the things. And here's the thing. Like I said, a lot of that shit is not explicit to Judith. We're all raised to be that way. We either learn to like deconstruct that. We learn that it's happening and we're like, I actually like that. I want to be like that. Or we don't, right? And so I try to use my platform to point that shit out so that people can like use it as a learning opportunity. So again, I do really appreciate Judith coming up here so that then I'm able to offer the additional reflection with like a normal human that we all had access to last night. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it can be hard to hear it about people that are celebrities, that have some level of celebrity, some level of like fame. It can be hard to hear it about them when you are a fan of that person because all you have is some like mythical idea about who they are. Whereas Judith was a real human in real time for y'all. You know what I mean? Because I think sometimes people dehumanize their faves. Starfire, I do think that there is some centering of maleness. I think that goes back to the centering of patriarchy. Okay. Do y'all have any other questions for me about that, or did that feel like an okay sort of analysis around that? Okay. Great. Okay. Perfection. Let's open the panel. I think the same thing too. I think the same thing too, Alicia. Oh, I'm so glad it felt good. Can I give an analysis on Nicolandria? Ash, I think I don't really want to. I guess the reason why I don't want to is because I don't know what I would say that's different than anything I've already said. Like, if there's a specific question you have, I'm happy to answer it. But like, I've given lots of like analysis. I don't think there's anything more for me to say outside of like what I've already said about them. I typically try to talk about what's happening with them. To be fair, I don't always make it public, but like, I think I've given like a lot of analysis. Like, if there's a specific question, then I'd be happy to like answer that. Okay. I'm bringing up the piano, and then I'm going to tell y'all what the questions are, but obviously y'all can also talk about what I've already talked about. Hi. Hello.
Buenos.
Nota wants to know, can you come up? You come up. Okay, you can always request to come up. I just always prioritize subscribers over other people. So you can absolutely request to come up. On site, I think that's a great question. Will you ask it again once I have the whole panel up here? Yes, Karmsha said, I just want to big up Judith for her courage to share and receive feedback. Again, I think it was really good. Maybe Tina has opinions of Copper Landria. I don't know anything about it. Oh, Ash, thank you so much for the follow. Yes, if you're in here and you don't follow me and you like what I have to say, please follow me. I would appreciate it. I would really love to get to 10,000 subscribers, mostly because then I can make playlists for y'all. So when people that are new to me come in and they're like, well, what do you think about this? I could be like, go watch the playlist where I already gave you all of my thoughts about that person. I can't make playlists until I have 10,000 people following me. Judith said, thanks, y'all, because I actually was scared. I've never done anything like that. Judith, I think you did a good job. I think even when you struggled, you were honest about that. I think that, you know, I'm really proud of the, really proud of the chat. They handled it well. I think you did well as well. Okay. Gigi has given y'all a new goal.
Yes, we have a new goal. We have 200K for the next 10 minutes. We can do this. You have 10 minutes to get us to 200K. Tap, tap, tap your little thumbs away. I am over here shopping, listening, monitoring the chat, and tapping. So if I can do it, you can do it.
My life. Good God, that means it.
Okay. I am gonna bring up. I'm just gonna bring up everybody that's in the queue, and we'll run through everyone, and then just kidding. Now it's more people in the queue. I will bring up everyone that was in the queue for a second, and then okay, there it goes. Not you're taller than him. You're not his size. Okay, and then I will always just rotate out, as y'all know. 2 seconds. I'm almost done. There's 3 more people to bring up, y'all. Okay, I know that we have a bigger panel. I do want to make sure that we get through everyone, so please be mindful of your timers. And then I do want to pitch the questions that came onto the Sunday question posts because I do think that they're good questions. Okay. Gigi, do you want to start, my love?
No, sorry. Do you want to start somewhere else? Because I'm trying to keep a monitor on this timer. I'll go last.
I got you.
Can I go first? Because I'm going to enter work first.
Yes, P, go ahead and share your thoughts, my love.
Yeah, shout out to Judith. She did a really good job staying on the panel. Obviously, I don't necessarily agree with, everything she said, but a lot of them made sense from her point of view. And I was telling folks in the comments, like when people were like really whacking her, I was like, yo, chill. Like, I didn't like how some folks were like, oh, that doesn't make sense. She said this and that. I'm like, well, of course it doesn't make sense. She's working through it. When most humans can hold like disparate ideas about the same thing, and sometimes it's good to do that, sometimes it's not. And the important thing is that she was willing to do that, which I deeply appreciate. Another thing, I really was disappointed to see a lot of xenophobia in the comments regarding her nationality. To me, that was really disappointing because, and this is really connected to like a greater trend of like xenophobia against like other Black people, like the diaspora. Just because someone's Nigerian doesn't explain their bad behavior. I mean, like, in a sense it can, in the sense of, when you understand someone's background, some things kind of track, but it's not a singular, saw a Black person bad, you found out they're Nigerian, it's because they're Nigerian. No, it doesn't. That doesn't make sense at all. It's really gross. It really reduces what the actual issues may be. It's like throwing glasses. It's like throwing stones from a glass house. There's no Black ethnicity that would be 100% free from anti-Blackness or acting a fool or, doing whatever and whatnot. It's really not fair, and I think it's also dehumanizing. And I feel it's just really frustrating because then my efforts are trying to counter that instead of having a productive conversation. So and I'm saying this about Nigerians because I am a Nigerian, but I don't want that kind of talk towards anybody. So if someone's acting a fool and they're African American, it's like, it's because they're African American or whatever. That's disgusting and that has to stop. What else? When Judith would say like, I'm like Nigerian and Canadian, so I don't really understand a bunch of like the African Americanisms. I think that is fair, but I don't necessarily. Well, it depends because it's so individual. Because I'm Nigerian and I live in Canada, but a lot of my media diet is American, and I've made the effort to learn about like the transatlantic slave trade on both sides and just American culture in general, and I really find an interest in not devotion but like I am reverent of it, like I am with my own. So again, that's not necessarily a clean answer for someone not understanding something, because there's many other people can be from the same place but can't understand something, or like a different place can understand what some parts, not all, again, because I don't understand the entire everything, but I didn't come to the same conclusions she had while watching the show generally. But anyway,
I do want to name Judith's comments. I think that that was in relationship to the Black Love thing, and Judith said, I've made the effort to learn, but I don't want to speak as though I know your community. So I appreciate, if there was xenophobia, I did not see it. I don't tolerate things like that. So Judith, I know that both of us were like, we weren't really watching the comments like we were trying to, but we were really trying to be present with each other. So y'all know I don't do shit like that in my life. So
I appreciate that, and that is true. It is around Black love, and I kind of forgot about that. And in that case, yes, Black love is kind of, I would agree with her experience, because that's a similar experience to me. But as I've grown, I'm 22, I've come to realize that it's not Black love when a woman isn't being cared for. You know what I mean? To me, black love is when a black person's in love. It doesn't really matter who the person is as long as they're being served by the love and relationship equally. Though obviously bonus points if they're both black.
Can I debate that real quick? This is not necessarily disagree. I just wanted to
Go.
No, you're okay. You're okay. I'm very structured on my panel. Star asked me to go after P. Star, can I
okay.
respond
My
to that
bad.
real quick? Is that okay?
No, yeah, you're very structured. I need to take suit of you because that's really good.
Yeah, she can respond.
Oh, you sure? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I made a video like a long time ago that I was talking about the difference in between like Serena and Cordell and like Ace and Shelly's like fan bases. And like with them, I feel like with Ace and Shelly, they're more, their fan base / like relationship is more their black love because they're both black. And there's a pro-black likeness. Like, you know how Chris Brown fans are. It's like how they're always defending him no matter what the actions are. And with Serena and Cordell, I feel like it's not only black people that like them together. It's like mostly everybody of the same different race. Like, it doesn't matter who, because we all didn't vote for Serena and Cordell to win because they were black. It's because they both really liked each other. They had a storyline, and it's like they had a relationship that everybody liked to see, and that's why they won Love Island season 6, not 7. And with Ace and Shelly, it's more of like they just had to have the black love because they genuinely thought watching Love Island season 6 and with 2 black people winning that's why they won. And that's not the point. That's the point where I'm like, y'all don't understand the difference. And a lot of the Chellacers or shoelaces, I like to call them, are very pro-black man and like pro-black like men. It's just like very concerning how they act because everybody is blaming Shelly for breaking up with Ace. And there was one video, I think it was Ace working out or something, and they were all like, oh, look how sad he looks. Shelly never liked him. Da-da-da this, da-da-da that. And I'm just like, well, no, I don't think so. It's just very concerning seeing how they're so quick to defend a man. But if we go back to where, you know, Vegas Gate happened and they were so quick to be on Ola's side and say Ola is we need to be on Ola's side for that situation, this, even though it was all faked and debunked. But when Ace and Shelly broke up, they were automatically on Ace's side. And I think that's very strange that all these women, and especially older black women, because it's mostly older black women that shift them, I notice. And it's just like, it's quite concerning. It's quite concerning to me. I just think that it's just very strange how they act towards Ace compared to Nick. Because Nick, it's like, my son is king. Like, oh, I love him so much. Like, he can do no wrong. But Nick, it's every moment somebody, like, every moment Nick does something wrong or something normal at best. It's just hate after hate after hate. It's just concerning to me. And it's just like, I don't know how Ace gets this, like, positive feedback. It's just strange to me. I'm sorry, it's strange. I don't know. That's just me.
Take those thoughts, and they're telling me your name is Mila. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've changed my username. It's my full name backwards. That's why.
Okay. Thank you, Mila. I agree. I think that it definitely has to do with like them de-writing the patriarchy, which I talk a lot about. I think that like it makes sense when it comes to Nick and Alandria. Oh, I'm going to align with blackness. I've talked to y'all about this before, right? If you go into a room as I'm going to say black, queer woman, if you go in a room full of black men, your womanhood is probably going to feel the loudest. If you go into a room full of white people, your blackness might feel the loudest. If you go into a room with a bunch of straight people, your queerness is going to feel the loudest. And all of us like to align with the things that feel similar to ourselves, right? So when they look at Nick and Alandria, they're like, align with blackness, align with Alandria. But when it comes to Michelle and Alan, because of the patriarchy, they are going to center Alan. These are the same types of people that want to, and I'm not trying to shade anybody that does this, I'm just saying that this is the same thread, right? My husband eats first. My son doesn't have to clean.
Yeah.
Daughters do. It's that same energy.
And they align themselves with Chris Brown supporters too. It's giving a lot of like people that support them either stream Chris Brown's music, support the Diddler, and all them those types of people. I'm just like, because it's very aligning. You could tell by the way they talk about these people. Ace, the Diddler, Chris Brown, all these people. It lines up to be like, oh y'all. Oh, and Tory Lanez. I forgot about that one too. Yeah. They all support these terrible people, and I'm like, I just don't understand it. I don't understand it.
I agree. Thank you so much, Mila. Okay, I'm gonna let Star talk, and then I do want to say one other quick thing. Someone was like asking if they're blaming Shelly. I will say I'm not in the fan base to know if they're blaming Shelly. I do know that I heard in the streets that the girl unfollowed the man and got bullied back into following him. I don't know how accurate that is, but I heard it in the streets. Okay, Star, will you give me your thoughts?
Yes, thank you for letting me up here. It's my second time. Y'all beware of me. Y'all may not like my opinion, but I'm gonna try to keep it based off of what Miss Tina said, because I wasn't here to see what Judith said. But I don't like how Alan is always allowed to not take accountability and change his things based off of his actions onto other people, specifically Nick. Nick was able to take all the heat on something that was majorly his fault, as far as the whole they wanted to focus on Nick not defending Alandria, and that being as Nick contributed to her hate train, and nobody ever liked to analyze how Ace contributed to the girls' hate train more than anybody. His actions with Huda in that heart rate challenge stemmed for Alandria to get a hate train. Nobody didn't dislike Alandria. Huda's fans even liked her. She started to get criticized because she started to defend her friend who wasn't being understood by the person that she was in a relationship with, supposedly, and the girl that was supposed to be her friend, aka Huda. He switched that to Nick not being, onto Nick, and he also switched another thing onto Nick, which was letting Nick take the heat for the situation what happened with Jeremiah. Nick is literally having proof that he didn't send Jeremiah home, and you're mad at him because he wasn't used as your shield. I don't like how Ace never takes accountability for a situation, and how his fans never make him take accountability. And that's something I noticed with what you were summarizing with Judith's statement. They never like to acknowledge his actual actions that are harmful, and that's how come they're seen as male-centered. Even this situation, they're allowing Shelly to get bashed, and it's only in situations pertaining towards pertaining towards black women, except for Nick, because Nick is the only white man that gets backlash from that fan base, and it's because he's in proximity towards Alandria, a black woman. Because where's the hate for Charlie and Austin, who always call Aces out? Oh, I'm trying to control my cousin, but who always try to call Ace out on his actions? They never go for Charlie or Austin, but they always specifically come from Nick, and that's because Nick is close to Alandria. I don't like how he always never gets, held accountable for scrutinizing people's relationships, and he had issues in his alone. He always tries to throw the rock and hide his hand, and that's because Ace has a lot of more issues than he lets on, and his fans contribute to that harmful rhetoric, and I don't like it. Like, yes, it's protect black men, but y'all are protecting a black man when it's harming a black woman, so much so that the girl couldn't even unfollow a man that she broke up with because of y'all wanting to protect him. And I don't like that, because if y'all are so pro protecting black men, the black man that actually was supposed to be protected, that didn't cause harm towards any black women, which was Chris. I feel like Chris actually doesn't get protected enough of what happened to him. And yeah, that specific fan base likes to coddle Ace. And I think it has a lot more issues to do with colorism rather than being pro-black, because yeah, I'll just leave it there since my time is up.
Sorry, we'll come back to you. They are laughing in the comments because I am not a Chris fan. But I will say this, though. I agree with you about people did not take seriously what happened to him. People provided a lot, but I think that people did that with a lot of the women. They provided a lot of cover for Amaya when it came to her coercion of Zach. Yeah, I said it. And trying to get that kiss out of him when he clearly was being like, I don't know, and then acquiesced, right? As if, I was about to call people bitches. As if y'all don't understand what it feels like to have someone not accept your first no. right? Or to give a tentative yes, you know that shit is a no. If it's if it's a maybe, it's probably a no, right? And people don't give her enough smoke for that. And people did not give Honda Civic any smoke really about what happened with Chris. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Miss Tina, can I address something in the comment real quick?
Yeah.
I see y'all are saying Chris was the cause of his own like demise, and I agree with y'all with that. I'm comparing it to Ace because Ace is also the cause of his own situation in the sentiments of what happened with Huda, just like Chris. However, Chris is not protected as much, and that's because it's not involving bringing down Black women. I feel like y'all only go so hard as protecting a certain Black man, and it's also due to proximity to colorism and that's why I use Chris as an example. Not that I'm pro Chris because, yeah, I don't like Tyler Perry, me personally.
Can I go next, Tina?
Yes, please, Gigi. Go ahead and share your thoughts.
Star is always a time, and this is why I love Star. Because she's not wrong. And just FYI, guys, we're doing such a great job. Next tap goal is 250K. Welcome to the Teenocracy. If you haven't heard by now, this is a teenocracy, not a democracy. What Tina says goes. She is my therapist, not y'all therapist. I just let y'all borrow her on some days. So I wanted to piggyback off Star because I think Star brought up a very, very important point when it comes to all of this discourse about accountability in Black men. And there are a lot of spaces on TikTok outside of Love Island that talk about this. Notably, I'm gonna go ahead and name drop Ginger does this, and I love the fact she does this, is we talk about the accountability, the lack of accountability when it comes amongst Black men and Black women protecting them is a big conversation that's being had. And they do this at the expense of Black women without the understanding. And I think that's why a lot of Black men act the way that they do and they behave the way they do, because they're so insulated by Black women who are so quick to protect them at the expense of other Black women, without forgetting that Black women go through the fight with them. They often forget that we are here with you too. Y'all talk about all these struggles and these discriminations and all these things and these hard times that Black men go through. Who do you think is going through it with you? Quick question. Pop quiz. Who's going through it with you? The answer is Black women.
Yep.
And still we get the shittier end of the stick every fucking time. And that doesn't take that. They don't take this into account. We've watched this happen to Alandria. We watched this happen to Shelly. Like, let's be very real. As much as I question and I have been critical of Michelle, y'all know I like Michelle. I have a Haitian solidarity with Michelle that has me by a Haitian chokehold that will not let me let go. Okay. But that being said, because of that, I'm very hypercritical of her because I want her to do better. And as a Haitian, y'all are going to be out here embarrassing me. Okay, y'all just not gonna do that. We're not doing that. So I'm very hypercritical of it because I want her to do better. But look at how much she has suffered as a result of the things that he has done and his blatant disregard of how it affects her. Right? We have watched him do this with the interview, use her as social cannon fodder. And I would argue to say it's because he saw that in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to media, that she was more palatable than he was. That her star power translated more than he did. So this wasn't just to take down Nick, because he knew he would be insulated. He came from an environment of where my son is king. So he knew he was going to be insulated by Black people, because the first thing that he did is he prefaced it with, look at me, the struggling Black man in the face of the man. And then continue to shit on Nick and Alandria's relationship. So he did this to insulate himself and prop himself up on his toddler king throne. And then going ahead and now drop this social time bomb, right? Knowing that it was going to have backlash to Shelly, because at this point we already know that he's watched it, because he says he's watched it. So he knows the edits that he has gotten. He knew this because he left her by herself on this social media run in which he could have taken the stance and said, hey, I'm going to correct this narrative. I'm going to show you who I am. And this is not to, and the sad part is, this is not to say that he hasn't done great things within his community, because he has. Unfortunately, these things are now overshadowed because now you have welcome space for not only infighting within the Black community, but you have open space for other people on the other side of the racial divide to see, y'all can't have nothing nice because look at how y'all go for each other. And look how much you're willing to throw each other in the bus. That is fucking crazy that people don't see that. That y'all don't see that. And this is why I will always be, and I want to be very, very clear. Like I've said and I've joked about how this has been the summer of me defending a white man in the face of black men, which really just grinds my fucking gears to no end. But I want to be very clear when I say I will always be more critical of black men because y'all are men in my community. You're a part of the men that I'm raising. And I would rather that criticism come from me from a place of love than to let anybody on the other side of that racial line to say something to you first. Like, to me, that is very, very important, right? And I think that we as a community need to be more serious about that and understanding who is going through these struggles, who is helping you through these struggles, because a lot of the things that black men get are on the backs of black women at the expense of black women. And at the propping up of black women. That's not to say that black men don't do things, because I'm making this very clear in my last 9 seconds. The only Chris I ride for is Big C. Shout out to Big C. Tina, let my boy holler.
Thank you, Gigi. Y'all also pay attention to the comments, because Gigi is telling you when you have a tap break. Because I know somebody was like, Gigi, my thumbs. Listen, she's letting you know when you have a tap break. Okay. Yes, all of that. Like, y'all are spitting. Okay, let me go to K Boogie, Antoinette, and then to Ann.
Hey.
Hi.
So, my first thing I want to say is this has nothing to do with what we're doing. I just spilled eggs all over my brand new phone, and it's not an iPhone. It's a Samsung Z Flip. And how do I get egg out of my hinges, if anybody knows? Okay, so my actual talking point.
K Boogie.
I'm sorry, alcohol wipes, babe. Alcohol wipes. Can of air and alcohol wipes.
Yeah, or
maybe some rice to absorb anything inside. All right, peace.
Got you, thanks. Okay, so when I was in the comments talking about please stop being disrespectful, I'm pretty sure I was talking about the Nigerian comments. I am not Nigerian. I am straight African American black. However, when I see something that I don't think is right, I'm gonna call it out. I couldn't remember who was saying it, and it just felt very disrespectful, because it doesn't matter where in like the diaspora we are. Patriarchy is patriarchy. If she has different thoughts on a man, it's not because of where she's from. It's because everywhere is about a man. Everywhere is about propping up a man and how he should feel, and our feelings don't matter as long as this man is fine. So, just saying, stop with the Nigerian, Haitian, blah, blah, blah. I appreciate when you're trying to prop up another person from where they're coming from. Like Haiti, hell yeah. If they're from Haiti, hell yeah. Make sure that she's doing right. But stop being rude about where someone's coming from. Yeah, it might be a little bit more harsh in Nigeria than here. But if you really look into America, what's the difference for real? Please tell me, because I haven't seen it. My next thought. I think it was when you brought up that Judith said that black men don't get enough protection. My immediate thought was, I mean, they do. We just aren't ever allowed to be seen as black women. Like, we're the shield, but everybody else is super okay with shooting through us to get to the man. To pew pew, I apologize. So, and they're more likely to pew pew us than to pew pew that man. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why. I know that it's just disgusting, but I just want y'all to understand. Black men are propped so freaking high, especially in our own communities. And honestly, let's bring them down a couple notches, specifically men like Alan, because we never call that out. Just like how Tina said, we don't ever report our grapes or our essays because we want to make sure that they are protected. Let's stop protecting them for things that they shouldn't be protected for. We all want equity. Show me some equity, babe, because I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. You guys are great, though. I just feel like we should really elevate ourselves. see what we're doing, understand that one perspective is not the only perspective, but we should also respect perspectives that aren't detrimental to ourselves. But honestly, that's all I gotta say. Bye, guys.
Okay, I'm going to say two things. Number one, I feel like this is a great place to put in the question that I got. We can continue. Okay, Star, that's fine. And then we can continue to like talk about it in this vein, but I do think it aligns really well with this question. The other thing I will point out for y'all is Gigi just gave you a 10-minute break, so you can stop tapping for the next 10 minutes. She will let you know when to start again. I do want to say that I think both things can be true. So I think that people asked her last night whether or not she was Nigerian. This is what people are telling me in the comments. I don't remember when the question got asked or like what because I was trying to be tuned in, but because she said something about Honda Civic, I don't know if she said she liked Honda Civic. I think y'all are misremembering that. I think that I remember her just being like, she didn't necessarily like dislike her. Maybe I'm misremembering, but that's what I thought I remembered hearing. And so people asked her whether or not she was Nigerian as a result of that. Okay, Judith is saying that I'm correct. She didn't say she's a fan. She just said that she doesn't dislike her. And that she said, "Are you being racist?" is what she said about the whole thing. And so people asked, okay, but to K Boogie and I think it was Peace Point as well, both things can be true. We can talk about the fact that someone culturally, based on where you live, based on what your ethnicity is, that you are going to have different perspectives around things. And we cannot engage in like stereotyping behavior of like, oh, of course you think that because you're that, right? Like, let's not, we can talk about it in a nuanced and appropriate and respectful way, because that absolutely culture does influence the way that we understand things. And to try to use it, if people were doing this in the comments, trying to use it as like of course you're that way, like that would be inappropriate. So let's not do that. And Judith is clarifying in the comments, she stopped liking Honda Civic once Shelly unfollowed her. Okay. So she's clarifying in the comments, if you see Judith commenting, "Hi, Shello. Shello just came in. Y'all conjure Shello up. Hey, Shello." But culture does inform us, and there's nothing negative about that unless you use it as a way to be reductive and simplify people in an inappropriate way, and then that would be absolutely problematic. So don't do that in my comments. Okay. And now we're going to, I said I was going to tell you the question, and then I want y'all to keep talking. So the question was, when it comes to men respecting Diddy, or the reason why people around him never spoke up or were complacent, technically, because some were victims themselves, how do you think we as people can learn to or act to not be complacent to abusers other than going forward to the police? Like, what are some tactics that we can use? What can we do to fight against patriarchal norms? And why do most men not speak up? Of course. Okay. Antoinette, please give me your thoughts. And that's something about that question.
Oh, thank God, because I'm like, I need more time. That was a lot. Wait a minute. Whoa. That's an essay that I need to. Anyways, I went to Judith. I'm trying to get to this quickly. I don't think it's fair to reduce her thoughts on Ace to being Nigerian or Canadian. I think it had more to do, if I'm being honest, and she can correct me if I'm wrong, with her lack of relationships. I think she said she's never had a serious relationship, and she's like 28, I'm 30. I think that specifically when talking about cis-het relationships, between black men and black women, you find a black woman who has a healthy list of like relationships specifically with black men, and she will have a much more forward-thinking view of the patriarchy, feminism, and how to operate in relationships. But when you have a black woman who only knows relationships from the outside looking in, it's very easy to get sucked into the idea of black love and what it's supposed to quote unquote look like. So I think her views on Ace have a lot more to do with her saying she has a lack of relationships. And I think I said this earlier one time in your lives, where I think that in this season in general with fans, that there was like a lot of people who just aren't getting laid. And in real life, and it was showing. And this isn't to her specifically, but just in general. I think having a lack of romantic relationships skews your view of men in general as a woman. So that aside, I specifically wanted to talk about where I think Shelly goes from here. I know she said she has an apartment now, like she has an apartment in LA. I am always of the belief that if their relationship was as it couple as they tried to pretend it was, that she probably would have stuck around a little bit longer. Like if it really was, if she got the clout that I think that they were hoping to get, the platform that they were hoping to get, I think she would have like dealt with his BS a little bit longer. I never thought she would have stuck out ever. That was never an option. I think when she got what she needed, she was gonna go. But I think that she realized that he is stifling. Like to watch her during the show in Post Villa, her whole thing has just been silence. Like if it's not actually silence, it's genuinely confused. It was Post Villa, it was hands up. She let Ace take over. He became the mouthpiece for them, which is insane, by the way. You don't know this man, or at least that much, allegedly. You don't know this man that much to be like, oh, I'm just gonna allow you to take control of my narrative as well as your own. So going forward, it would not. I've always believed that Peacock is a company. It's a company. They want money. I 100% believe they reached out to them just like they reached out to Nick and Landry. And we know they reached out to Nick and Landry because Nick mentioned it several times, his own live as well as when talking to Jeremiah. They could care less about that interview. If they cared about that interview, they wouldn't have invited Taylor, because Taylor was definitely piggybacking off that interview. So if they cared that much, they wouldn't have invited him. I 100% believe they asked Ace and Shelly, if not just Shelly, but Ace said no. Why? Because he has something, his ego. He has something to prove. You have to prove that y'all are the it couple, that y'all are just as wanted and sought after as Nick and Landry, even though it's not. So I wouldn't be shocked, because I know Beyond the Villa is still filming. I wouldn't be shocked if there was for my housewife lovers out there, a friend visit, if all of a sudden Clark and Amaya had lunch and someone popped up and they just talked about, going through a breakup right now. And it nothing major, but I wouldn't be shocked if she showed up on Beyond the Villa towards the end. There's like a little moment, a check, as well as, because why are you staying in LA? She lives in New York. I feel like there are just as many entertainment opportunities in New York as there are in LA. Why stay? And I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, they're breaking up for PR, because this would be too much. That's too much drama. I don't think that girl is invested that deeply to where she would need that much drama put on her. And so when people are like, yay, free Shelly, I'm like, it's strange to me that she managed to not say nothing to the point where people genuinely believe that she has no agency and no thought behind her eyes. Like there is no actual thought. And I'm not to say that I believe their relationship is 100% fake or anything like that. I think they liked each other enough, but like the idea that she isn't worried more about her career than she is about this relationship, to me, I think is a lie that we're telling ourselves, which is why the reaction to them breaking up is like, oh, Ace was more into her than she was into him, from a lot of Chellaces, which is crazy, because I'm just like, he's 22 and she was 28. Are we being serious? And also, can we talk about how Ace has been babied this entire season? It was, oh, he's a virgin. He never said he was a virgin. He said he never had a relationship, but y'all were going with a narrative that he was a virgin. And that's why I was like, this son is my king thing makes sense, because they were going with this narrative that he was a virgin because he never had a relationship before. No, baby. He just never had a relationship. He never called somebody his girlfriend. That didn't mean that he went out here dipping it and doing it until then. Like, so the babying of him isn't shocking. Patriarchy, sure, but also they all been babying him since the first episode aired. And even then, the people getting babying him were people who already loved him and knew him from TikTok beforehand. So I'm not shocked by this outcome, but I'm more curious on how Shelly can pivot this to give herself a personality or something to cling to. Because I really would like to know how she furthers her career post that. So if anybody in like the comments or like another panelist has an idea, like I'm curious on how Shelly changes this for herself going forward.
Thank you, Antoinette. Okay, I want Ann to respond. I was asked to repeat the question. Ann and caps off, though, y'all don't have to explicitly answer this question. But the question is essentially, how do we as a people, and they're talking about Black people, I think, how do we think we can as people learn to act or to not be complacent in abuse other than going forward to the police? How do we fight against patriarchal norms, and why do most men not speak up? So it's 3 separate questions. I will answer it after Anne and Kevsoff give their thoughts about this other, anything else they want to give thoughts about. Okay, go ahead. Anne.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's Ann. I'm back again. Hold on. I'm in the basement about to do my laundry. Let me put this down. All right. First of all, I did watch the docu-series about the diddler. So I will come in from that point of view. I feel like there's this study that has shown that men are more communal than we think they are. They like to be married around the same time that their friends are married. If their friends get divorced, they're basically copying that same pattern. They're more communal in that sense where, you know, they pattern after each other in terms of lifestyle. And I found that to be very interesting. And it's like, again, the patriarchy is against men as maybe not, I wouldn't say as much, but it doesn't benefit men, you know, the way it does not benefit women, especially in the Black community. And I say this simply because, you know, it's my brother's keep. I'm my brother's keepers type shit. Street code, know what I'm saying? Thank you for the gifts, dark skin lover girl. The street code shit. I ain't gonna snitch. That's my brother. Yada 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 bullshit. And in terms of that, we enable the toxic behaviors of these Black men. Again, somebody said that we should not coddle them, right? Listen, so I'm Haitian American, so I see the parallels between the Haitian and the Nigerian stuff. Like, my father sat at the head of the table, he got the biggest piece of chicken, even though that nigga can't cook, right? So this is the way things are culturally, and you know how the patriarchy, misogyny is baked into society. In terms of what I've learned in the docu-series, I can't say too much. It was very explicit. I'm gonna keep it TikTok friendly. However, he not only essayed men, but he essayed men and women. And there was the first episode, I believe it was entitled Love versus Pain. And somebody said that he was, so what I've learned is that our trauma shapes who we are. And in terms of the way the diddler was raised, he was raised, you know, he was shaped more out of pain versus love. I believe that he was groomed by his so-called mother, Janice Combs. Also, the way that he has also groomed his son. So I'm gonna be side-eyeing his sons. We need to be side-eyeing Christian Combs. And who's the other Combs? Anyway, I must be side-eyeing Christian and the other, the light-skinned one, the light-skinned Combs. Anyway, both of them have been groomed, and they've been quote-unquote been at these F-offs with their father. So we got to be watching out for the next generation of, yes, thank you. It's Justin Combs. I'm not really too worried about Quincy. Quincy is I'll be Shore's son, but you know how the diddler did it. He is the ultimate destiny swapper. He wanted to have everyone sloppy seconds. He had a baby with Tupac Shakur's. I think it's Chance Combs he had with Tupac Shakur's ex, and he also had a baby with 50 Cent's ex. I believe that's Miss Mia, the Asian woman. That man love a good sloppy second, know what I'm saying? He was into having whatever, he was into proximity to power as much as anyone else, and he used to destiny swap whoever he wanted. He tried to destiny swap with Suge, but it didn't work out. Suge and I'll Be Sure are probably the only people that have survived that shit. Yeah, they really did that shit. I believe he's behind Tupac and you know, what's that? My dude Biggie Smalls. He from Brooklyn, you know. Yeah, but listen, I don't have any evidence. So this is all alleged. This is all speculation. These are all my thoughts. And Tina does not share my thoughts. This is a safe space, but it's not your space. Tina kills me. Anyway, last but not least, what was I going to say? In terms of the Alan of it all, Alan, I believe he's being coddled. Shout out to Antoinette. Maybe it was P who even said P. Well, no, P was talking about in terms of like the patriarchy and the xenophobia. I don't fuck with that. We need to stop with the diaspora wars, okay? The only difference between you and me is that all our ancestors came from Africa. I just ended up in the Caribbeans, okay? We're the same. We share the same bloodline. We need to stop the bullshit. Stop with the division. Anyway, in terms of Alan, yes, he was coddled. Again, the patriarchy did not help this light-skinned man. I do believe that he does benefit from colorism and some light-skinned privilege. Let's stop infantilizing that man because he's 23. He's grown enough. Thank you, Adelaide. He's grown enough. That's N with an E. It's French. It's silent. Hi, Anika. Anyway, we need just to stop infantilizing Alan, and let's give Michelle some grace. And I'm not saying give her grace because she Haitian, because the thing is, I'm with you when you right, and I'm still be with you when you're wrong. I'm gonna just hold you accountable. I'm not that type of girls. I'm gonna let you not brown eye say he light skin with the good hair. Stop bullshit. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do want to say this really quickly, and then I'm going to respond to your comment, Ryan. I mean, I just made that name up. Why did I say that? Star. I'm going to respond to your comment, Star. Pep 828. I see you in here today. And I know you was in here running amok yesterday. So I just want to encourage you to keep it cute. Okay. I also want to remind people, because I've seen people doing this whole thing about Michelle getting with Sierra or doubling back with Chris. I want y'all to understand that there are people outside of Love Island that people can date. Mm-hmm. It's giving, I'm not sure. No, maybe it's shady. It's giving y'all are still in high school, because why do you think they can only date people that you've ever seen them in proximity to? Like, please stop with those narratives. Please stop, okay? Stop saying weird shit like that, okay? They can date people that you have never met via reality TV, and it would be okay. Also, as to asking what we are talking about today, we are talking about, exactly, Asi. We are talking about a couple of different things, but the reason why you heard everything about Dittler just now is because someone sent in a question. So on Sundays, I let people send in questions throughout the week that we will answer on Sundays. The question today, one of them, is how do we learn to not be complacent to abusers other than going forward to police? What can we do to fight against patriarchal norms? And why do most men not speak up? In relationship to, they were asking this in relationship to the Dittler, Diddy's little, whatever the fuck, the thing that 50 did, okay? His little docuseries. Star, I also did not watch the docuseries, but this question can be answered, I think, without having watched that explicitly, because this is behavior that we see in larger culture, even outside of Diddy. So you can still hang out and answer if you want to. Okay, Kevstop is going to respond, and then Chris wants to answer this question that came in, and then it'll come back to us as the panel. Okay. Go ahead, Kevstop.
Oh, hi, Tina.
Hi, my love.
Hello. It's been a minute since I've been on here. I took a break from the TikTok streets. I just want to say I was in here on Friday, and I just want to shout out to Aneka and, of course, Gigi and Nikki and yourself, because I had a really good Friday, but then the news came in about, Alan and Michelle, and it just made the Friday funnier. I got a really nice, somewhat promotion at work, so yeah, it was good. But anyway, I just want to address very quickly the whole Nigerian thing. I'm Nigerian, I'll just put it out there. And the whole patriarchy thing is very real, but I'm sorry, I think first of all, it's lazy on both sides. It's lazy on the sides of a lot of Nigerian women who have some sort of inferiority complex and just want to support a lot of bad behavior because that's what our government and just the vitriol of our society as Nigerians has just impeded in us. If you're pretty and you have money, you're a good person, like base level, and that's some BS. I'm so sorry. Like, that will never fly. So let's just dead that shit. It's also lazy on the part of, everyone else who just feels like anyone who likes Huda must be Nigerian. It's lazy on both sides. I've seen Black women of all sorts and of all ranges be obsessed with Huda for some wild reason, but I don't want to give it more energy. I think we just need to be have a lot more perspective on both sides. Being Nigerian is not a prerequisite for being a shit person, but being a Huda stan makes you lack good judgment. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. Okay, all right. About Shelly and Ace. You know what's funny? I didn't want to laugh or gloat because I don't have any feelings toward this. I don't wish them good or bad. I don't wish them anything. I wish them what they deserve, because to me, I don't believe either of them are good people. But I will say, the whole thing with Shelly was just, Gersh told her to wrap it up. I'm sorry. The deals were coming and they were trying to fight to place her with someone. And they just didn't want to place with her because they just didn't like her. That's the beginning and the end of it. Gersh was like, we are an agency that needs to make money. You're not making us any money. Deal with this. And she broke up with him. That's the beginning and the end. I'm sorry. I don't feel like there needs to be more conversation about it. That's what I believe. I'm sorry if people don't agree, but that's what I believe. The whole Free Shelly thing is highly hilarious to me. Free Shelly from what? What situation was Shelly in that she didn't put herself in actively? Please, can someone point it out to me, because I am mighty confused. Free Shelly from what? Shelly was very, very proud, loud and proud, supporting her Slorella friend. I love that Slorella name. Shout to Gigi. She was very happy to feed it, to support Sierra boldly for 10 fucking minutes on Kiki. Sorry, I'm swearing today. Apologize. On Kiki's podcast. But she couldn't say one word, not a line to her fellow sister, in at least in race. She couldn't say one thing to calm the waters surrounding Oladria. You know what actually put the seal on it that day for me was when she, just as the whole thing was hitting up, even before Essence posted that really ridiculously terrible cover story, she put in what did she do? She posted her birthday pictures without Olandra in it. Olandra got on a plane with her own money, flew to that party. The next day, her boyfriend sliced her, and she never said a word. Then she posts all the photos, lovey-dovey with her boyfriend, because they thought they'd win over the audience. The next day, Essence will post that. Jesus, I don't even know how to describe that photo shoot. Essence will post that photo shoot, and everything will be fine and dandy, and everyone will move on. But that's not how it went, did it? So free Shelly from fucking was. What are we freeing her from? What did she not sign up for? You know what I mean? Okay, so I'm just going to move on from that. Shelly will be okay, everyone says. I don't know about that. I don't really care. Ace will be okay, though, because the shot I've been seeing today about all these women going like, Shelly didn't deserve Ace. Ace, oh my God, I'm sure he's so sad. He's going to do a life with red rims around his eyes. Can we just... I know there's women who are very sad and ridiculous in this world and have nothing to show for their lives, but please get a grip. Like, can we all get a grip? And I'm just give it a minute. You're gonna get a podcast, a red pill podcast from Ace anytime soon. Just wait first. You're gonna get a podcast, or he's gonna go on a live and throw her under the bus in the most despicable way, because this is not the end of it. Don't believe this is the end. This is not the end. Not that I care really much for either party. I don't wish them anything. Like I said, I wish them what they deserve. But he's not going to take this line down, because she's the one who was able to claim the narrative at first by going on that podcast or the radio show, and telling everyone about the breakup. I'm sorry, he's not going to go quietly, and that's unfortunate for her, because this is the bed she made for herself. I had a question, because I was here on Friday and I was listening to the live. I tried joining the panel, but I think something was off with my internet or my TikTok. I couldn't join. I kept dropping. But I wanted to ask, when people say they love Shelly, I'm so confused. Not because it's a bad thing to love her. I want to know what it is that they love. Look, she's a very beautiful woman, and she's a Black woman. So those are two things that will always people will have their back whatsoever. But what do we know about her to love? I feel like the word love this year has been very jarring for me. I'm so confused. What's happening? Ace claims he loves Olandra while throwing her under the bus. Everyone says they love Shelly, but love her for what? She's a pretty face? Okay. What about her character? What about her person? What is it that she gives? Did we learn anything about her on the show for the entire 6 weeks that we watched her on? No. I don't know anything about her personality that I find redeeming enough to love. So, I don't know what it is that people love about her. Oh, someone says she speaks well. Okay, sure. People could say the same about Sierra, but whatever. All right, so I'm going to talk about the Diddy thing very gently for myself.
Hold on. Real quick. Okay. I want to, before you get into the duty thing, one, I want to let Chris talk about it, but also I want to just be very clear in my comments. Pap, and it looks like Esther, both of you appear to me to be, you correct me if I'm wrong, you appear to be Shelly and Ace defenders, okay? You appear to be Shelly and Ace defenders. What I said last night, after Judith so bravely chose to come on to, no, unmute them, Gigi, so bravely chose to come up on my panel and to talk with me, thank you, Gigi, to talk with me directly. What I said was, y'all are not going to be allowed to pop shit in my comments if you can't bring your ass up on this panel. Okay. Esther's saying, no, she's not. Okay. So if you're not going to come up here and actually speak your piece, if you only want to pop shit in my comments, I'm going to mute people. Okay. Because what I can't stand a neutral ass bitch stand for something. Okay. So I want you to come on up here and have a conversation with me. I will drop the whole panel if you want me to. It'll just be us. You can come up here with the panel. Okay. Esther says she requested. I'll bring you up in a second, Esther. But I want y'all to be very clear that's not going to be tolerated no more in the comments. Okay. Also, to Pap, let me be very clear. You asked, what am I going to do? Or what are y'all going to, I think you said, what are you going to do if they get back together? I'm not going to do anything because I don't care whether they are together or not. I have no investment on whether or not they stay in a relationship dynamic. And the only thing that I am curious always about is being analytical and curious from a psychological and nuanced sociological perspective. That's it. Okay. So I actually don't give a fuck. I don't buy that it's PR though. And I know that a lot of you all are wanting to like hang on to that really deeply. I don't actually perceive Shelly or what's that man's name? Alan as stupid. I don't perceive them as dumb. I don't perceive them as stupid. And to do that as a PR stunt would be stupid as fuck. So I actually don't think it's PR. And I think that that is a weird thing to try to like hang on to and to like hope around. That's weird. The reality is I actually don't think it's attached to a bag. I will say it again. I think that she was fatigued in that relationship, which is exactly what the fuck I thought would happen. I think if she ever tells us what happened, that we will hear some level of that between him talking about all the teaching she was doing, her talking about having to teach him and guide him. That's not fun in the first 5 months of a relationship. Some shit you just need to know. You need to be on my level about some shit. And the fact that she had to be small in that relationship because Shelly is a lot more like Alan as far as like having the ability to be a leader and to be, but we didn't get to see a lot of that, right? And in that relationship, she was reduced to being an accessory. She was his girlfriend rather than being Shelly. And I don't think that she was going to be able to tolerate that for too long. Okay. So I actually don't buy into the fact that they broke up only because of a bag. And I don't think it's PR. But if you'd like to come up and share your thoughts, you are welcome to do so. I cannot tell you what the panel will do, but I won't jump you, and I will do my best to keep the panel from jumping you if you want to come up with the panel. Okay, before you respond, I know that y'all are talking about Shelly, but Chris does want to.
I can wait if you want.
No, baby, go ahead. He wants to respond to this question. I think it's a good question. Again, how do we learn to act or not be complacent to abusers other than going forward to the police? And what can we do to fight against patriarchal norms? And why do most men not speak up? Also, I don't remember who said it in my comments, but you sent the question about LeBron James. We will get to that. LeBron James and Savannah as well. Do you want to respond? Okay.
Oh, Jesus. Y'all got a lot going on today. Okay, so how do we, what's the question again? I'm sorry. The complacent.
How do we not be complacent? Learn to act or not be complacent to abusers other than going to the police? What can you do to fight against patriarchal norms? And why do most men not speak up?
Let me start with that one. Why do most men not speak up? Right. I think, well, I know that one reason that most men do not speak up is because patriarchy doesn't teach them that. Patriarchy doesn't teach them that they should speak against something that they benefit from. Right. most men, and I believe this, I believe most men that do not speak up, especially like in these circles with those dudes, I think they don't speak up and stuff because a lot of them are the same. A lot of them move the same. A lot of them treat people the same, right? It's just that this person talking about the diddler and specifically has more power and more money, right? Than people like, let's just say up under him, you know what I'm saying? But those that don't speak up is because, yes, they agree with the way that he's moving and they agree with a lot of what he's doing. And then the other side of it too is that patriarchy and because the way that it's a competition with men, most men are scared of other men. So I'm not going to speak up against somebody who has this power to destroy me. Right. And I'm not talking about him specifically because that happens even with broke niggas. Right. So let's just be real. Right. It's that men are scared of men. And if I speak up, if I speak out, then I'm going to be, and then I have to deal with being ostracized. I have to deal with being a simp, being called a simp, being called gay, being called, I'm going to use these words, but it's so excuse me, women, but I'm going to use these. I have to be, worried about being called a bitch, being called a pussy, right? And then we all know what that says is that you know what I'm saying? As men, because I'm being called those things and I hate those things, now I hate femininity, right? Or I hate, you know, that's a whole nother topic or a whole nother side to it. Because like, why are you scared of that, right? And because of men not willing to or scared to be alone, right? They're not going to speak out because then I'm going to be alone. I'm not going to have no man. And then what does that do, right? I don't have nobody to be in competition with. I don't have nobody to show out for, right? Because the reason why a lot of men do the things that they do is because they're just showing out for the nigga that's next to them, right? I'm not hating that niggas going by, you know, I mean, sorry, I'm not hating that dudes going by all this jewelry and all these shoes. You know what I'm saying? You got 6-7 cars. I used to do that stuff, right? I'm not hating that you do it, but let's just be real. Men do that stuff because they are in competition with other men. It's to show out in front of other men. Because most, in my experience anyway, most women don't give a fuck about that stuff. They don't give a fuck about, nigga, you got 7 chains on and 6 cars. Nigga, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they want financial stability. Yeah, nigga, I want you to have I mean, damn, I keep saying the N-word. I'm so used to saying it. Yes, I want you to have a car so we can get around and have stability and stuff like that. But I don't care that you got 7 Bentleys. Nobody care about that shit, right? That's men, like I said, being in competition with each other. So I think that's why, like, you know, men are not taught to speak up against patriarchy, all those reasons that I said, but then also because they benefit from it. They benefit from it, right? And if they're not doing the work to dismantle that first of all in their own life and what that looks like for themselves, then they're just going to fall in line to whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what was the next one? I'm sorry.
How can we fight against patriarchal norms, and how do we not be complacent outside of going to the police?
I think fighting against patriarchal norms is, I think that's a tough one.
Because it's layered, yeah.
Because it's layered. There's so many layers to it. I think that one thing I think that y'all continue to follow someone like Tina for the women out there, you know what I'm saying, to continue, because I believe obviously I believe in the work that she's doing and helping, and I know that the work that she does in her private practice life, I know the work that she does even in her own life, you know what I'm saying, and that stuff, and being with, you know, and that and everything. But also I think that's a huge burden that, let me not say burden, but I think that's a huge thing that rests on the shoulders of men. That there has to be enough of us that are willing to step up and like really step up, not just talk about it in groups and talk, you know what I'm saying? Like really, it's like some like overthrow the government type shit. Like I think it has to be enough of us men that are like, you know, we're not going to continue to allow patriarchy and misogyny to control us as men and then our communities, right? It has to be enough of us that are willing to make those steps and to like really be like, nah, we're not fucking with this shit. You know what I'm saying? And then do the work to sit in rooms with women and figure out how we can be better as a community, first starting with us as men, right? But other than that, that's a super layered question there. But I think those are some of the things. What were you about to say?
I was going to say, do you have any ideas around how to not be complacent other than going forward to the police? Or like how to push against it?
No, yeah, I know. Punch that dude in the throat. No, how to push up against it. I think that comes with this. I think that comes with. I think it's kind of like the same thing, right? I think that. I think that's the same thing as far as there has to be people who's willing to not fuck with it. And how do we not be complacent? We as in a community, or we as in like individuals? You talking about like how do women not be complacent, or how do men not be like?
Just answer it from whatever perspective you want.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to answer it from.
Keep it cute in my comments, or I will put you on mute. Don't be weird.
Yeah, because your throat might.
Just block them now, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know on that one.
Oh, got me over here with itchy fingers.
Juanita wants to know if you read self-help books.
Yes.
That was really able to say. I will say that a book. What's the book that you always recommend, babe?
I'm about to say The Will to Change by Bell Hooks
is a great one. The Will to Change by Bell Hooks.
It's a great book. All About Love by Bell Hooks. But I recommend that one to everybody, but especially to men. All men should read The Will to Change. If they real, it will like really. That book is crazy, to say the least. That book will really change you as a human, from a man's perspective, right? What time is it?
Game time. It's 3:03.
But I think like to answer the complacent part from like the women, I would say from a man's perspective is that we have to be willing to not give a fuck about what other men say because I don't fuck with the way that you're moving, right? We have to be willing to not want to show out for other men, not wanting to, like, I'm trying to be careful with my words and what I say on here, but yeah, I think it's that. Like, we have to be willing to be like, dude, what you're doing is wrong, and what you're saying is wrong, the way that you're moving is wrong, and I don't care what the blowback is gonna be on me. Because what I'm gonna say and the way I'm gonna move is right, and it's just the right thing to do, regardless if it's a woman or not, but especially in those situations, right? Because that's just the right thing to do in general, right? Like when you're talking about like the documentary and everything, I'm not gonna say that I agree with 50, right? Because I don't fuck with 50 Cent. Once he started being weird about his son, I was like, oh yeah, I can't fuck with that. Yeah. But I will say that I don't agree with Marlon Wayans speaking out in that other scrub. I can't remember his name. That other scrub from Rockefeller. I forget his name. Dang. I don't agree with them pretty much in short terms, pretty much like defending Diddy. I don't fuck with that shit. Like, I'm not saying that what he did, what 50 did was right, but I'm cool, and then I think that's another thing, because I'm cool with men exposing men. I think that's what it should be. Expose these niggas. These dudes, expose them. Expose the behaviors and the things that they're doing, but do it in a true light of this is wrong, and we're gonna expose this. We're gonna expose that you're moving like this, so you don't keep getting away with it, so you don't keep getting to just hurt people, and it's okay, and it just keeps getting passed on for years and years and years, right? Like, I'm cool with that. I don't think 50 was moving in that energy. I think because if you know 50, he's just a petty bitch, right? That dude is beyond petty. But like I said, I don't agree with those who are speaking out against 50 and trying to defend Diddy, because you're defending an abuser. And that's what they're not understanding, because, right, patriarchy doesn't teach you that. It's like, oh, how we speak out against this black man who's been abusing women and other people for decades. We don't care about that. It's just that how you tear down another black, like, that shit is stupid to me. But those are my thoughts.
Okay, Star wants to go. I know Kevsoft wants to go. Shit, it was something I was going to say. Gigi did give y'all a tap break. Go ahead, Star. You can share. Oh, let me say this real quick. Esther, you want to come up? I know you want to come up. If there's one thing my people will tell you in here, it is that I run a tight ship. It is very organized over here. So I will rotate people out and bring people up. So just hang out in the queue. I will bring you up. Okay. I see y'all. All right. Star, please go ahead and give us your thoughts.
Okay, I want to start by saying Chris did amazing. He helped me understand the question more because I didn't watch the documentary. And I think if I'm understanding it correctly, I want to start off first by saying it's kind of crazy that when I hear men speak up about the abuse and stuff that they experience themselves, is more so pertaining to a hit as a woman. Like, it's more so, it's like, not really competition with women, but it's more so as men go through that too type thing. And I do agree with Chris that men do benefit from being complacent, and also benefit from the issues of harm, and it deals with oppression. So because they see women as a thing to oppress, as an object to oppress, they don't really see women as human all the time. So when they think of how women are subjected to abuse, it doesn't really make them comfortable to speak on their experiences with abuse, because then they would have to acknowledge the fact that they're oppressing another human being. I feel like it comes with a lot of mental issues as well that men, I don't want to say that it's all on men to acknowledge, but it is on them to acknowledge to a certain extent, because they have to do it in a way without only doing it to undermine women's situations, because that's the only time I really hear men speak about it. Even to not I'm not going to connect it to that situation, because I don't want people to think that I'm connecting Ace to this person. But when we was talking about this concept with a Chellacer, I realized that a lot of men do think of women in a certain light that's not really, you're not really pro anti-abuse, you're more so pro what everyone else is viewing as wrong, if I'm saying it correctly. And it's really sad, and that's why I wasn't really eager to watch the Diddy documentary, because I don't really like to overly stress myself out or, be upset without already being upset about what's going on with Nicolandria. So yeah, that's really why I find men having the issues that it really just grinds my gears, that we could all work together to attack an issue that doesn't have to be one-sided or only when it's to undermine women. And I don't really know what I can say is a goal, because it does have to be talked about amongst men, and I'm not a man. So I think that the only way is to have a productive, solution is to acknowledge the situation at first, and then acknowledge their flaws in the circumstance. But that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Star. And I saw that your hand went up. Oh, go ahead.
I think that around, like, when it comes
who's going next?
Hold on, Ann.
I wanted to bring up a point, and like, this is something that I had, Bell Hooks was like, the reason why it's like one of like the major things, right, is because she helped me to see that, like, right, women really actually have that power in saying no when it comes to like sex, right, and want to be intimate. But because men love to oppress women, right, this is a way. What other way can I take away your no? What other way can I oppress you? Right. And that way is having control, taking that control I don't want to say taking back because that's not right, but taking that control from you, taking your no from you is to essay, right? Is to do those type of things, because then now I have the power over you and I have another way. It's just another form and another way to like oppress you, to take your power from you, to just, do all the terrible things that like men do to women. But yeah, I just wanted to add that on to the end of that. But yeah.
Okay, I know that people that are on my panel want to go. Let me be clear about how this is going to move forward. So I'm going to share my thoughts, but I'm going to let Anika, Vi, and then Esther, because they are new to the panel. I'm going to let all of them share their thoughts, and then I will come back to Kepsov and then Anne. That'll be the order, okay? So to answer this question, I think that, number one, I'm not against you going. I want you to do whatever feels right for you, even if I don't necessarily know that I would do those things, right? So I'm not against you going to 12 if that's what feels right for you. But I like to recommend to people, we are talking about, I'll tell you in a second, but I am happy for people to read Sarah Deer's work. It's the topic, the essay is called "What She Say It Be Law" by Sarah Deer, and it talks about indigenous ways of beings and how they handled when people in their community violated, explicitly she's talking about rape, violated people in community. Yeah. Right? And that whatever the woman said, whoever was violated, whatever they said is what happened. That was the consequence. Period. Full stop. So if she was like, take his head, if she was like, ostracize him, if she was like, chop off his, whatever she said was what the law was. And I fuck with that, right? And so I think that this goes to, this is why like I really want to honor victims and whatever it is that they feel like they want. I'm not going to be a liar and say that we don't know. There's too much research out there. You know that oftentimes when victims go to 12, they get re-victimized. Because they're either not believed, they're drugged through the mud, it doesn't go anywhere. Like oftentimes it actually does not play out to their benefit. So I am with people doing whatever needs to be right for them. If that looks like ostracizing people from community, I think that's a great one. Sometimes you do need to actually, I say all the time, I don't root for everybody that's Black, right? And I like that. I know that people use that. Issa Rae meant that was talking about a very explicit scenario, and people try to use that as a blanket statement. I don't move like that because not everybody has my best interest at heart. Not everybody has my community's best interest at heart. You think about when Clock That Cookie Dough, the story of the girl just recently on the college campus who called 12 because she was too intoxicated to get home on her own, and then he essayed her. So I understand that that is not always the safest and best bet. But ostracizing people from community, actually pushing people away, I would have saved more if they would have known they were slaves. Some people do have to be left behind. I need y'all to get more comfortable with being like, I don't have to wish bad on you, but I also don't gotta fuck with you. And some people, maybe you should wish bad on them often. Okay. So I just want to say that, right? Like that there are ways that you can isolate people to prevent continued access to power, which then reduces the risk of some of these behaviors. So that's one thing that I think of. When we talk about like how we fight against patriarchal norms, someone said it in the comments and I like pointed and was like nodding. You have to even know what the norms are to fight against them. So having these sorts of conversations that again illuminates what these things are. This is why when I talk to y'all about Love Island, it's like, yeah, we're having a little kiki about the couples, but we never really just stay there, right? We're also talking about this is what influences that and this is what that and because you need to even know that that shit is there. Otherwise, you're just folding into it all the time. You're not making conscious choices. You have to know what it is to even be able to fight against it. I would say that and someone asked if I can make a book list. I will say that the second tier of my subscribers, we're supposed to have a book club, but I need people to join the Discord for us to have the book club. But anyway, we're supposed to have a book club, right? Oh yeah, 12 is cops. They're pigs.
Hey Tina.
Yes,
sorry for interrupting you. I still can't get into the frickin' Discord. Every time I try, it says that there's no conversation going on.
Okay, will you DM me after this slide? Don't forget.
Yes, I will.
And Chris is going to look into it. So the way that you join my Discord is you click my face. You go to subscription on the top of my profile. Oh, you can't either. Okay, you click up. So maybe but the way that you get allowed to be a part of the book club is you click on my face, you go to my profile, you click on subscription, and you join the most expensive tier, which I think is $6.99. You join that tier, and that tier is what's gonna give you access. So anywho, I think that this comes with reading certain things. I think that this comes in engaging in certain conversations. This is the way that you identify these things so that you can even see it in order to fight against it. Because a lot of people think this is why Pink Pill, Dark Skin Lover Girl, she and I talk about this in the DM sometimes. This is why Pink Pill is so successful, because most people don't even know that they're being pink pilled. Mm-hmm. They think I'm just having a soft life. I'm just embracing these, I'm just being treated well. And it's like, yes, and baby, that's just patriarchy light. It's just patriarchy light, right? And so, but even knowing what it is so that you can cultivate in a way that it makes sense for you. Okay. And then why do most men not speak up? I don't want to repeat listen, girl dinner, I'm just a girl, all of that, right? Like, cut the shit. Anyway, sorry. I'm not going to regurgitate anything Chris said, but I do want to just highlight one more time, because men are scared of other men and people align with power. Yep. Period, full stop. And in the United States and in most countries, right, being a cisgendered, heterosexual, Christian, white man, if you have any of those identities, you already are going to have more power and a lot of dynamics with wealth. You're going to have more power. And so depending on the dynamic between the two of you, you might have more power, number one. So they're already defaulting to you. And in my opinion, they think that you're actually right. I made a video about this, so I'm not going to rehash that. You can go watch it. They think you're actually right. But also, men are scared of other men. When we are on Ginger's panels, as Gigi mentioned, and we're having these conversations, literally, because Esther, I don't know, maybe Esther can't hang, but literally 8 times out of 10, I'm being generous, it's probably 9 times out of 10.
It's 9.
9 times out of 10, when it's like, why don't you protect women? They're like, well, because I don't want to get my ass beat. He gonna be trying to fight me. And I'm like, why do you always assume protection means violence? Mm-hmm. Because that's the way that they conceptualize their manhood, which again goes back to how they understand patriarchal norms and how they're supposed to show up as men. Do you understand? So it's like, men are scared of other men. Men are scared of other men, and that's why a lot of them do not speak up. Okay, I'm going to go to Anika, Vi. You don't have to stay on this topic. You can talk about Michelle and Alan if you want. Esther, if you want to come back, you can.
Okay. All right. Yes, thank you for having me. And I just want to start off by saying thank you, Chris, for everything that you said. Not that I was unaware of those things, but I'm happy that, it was spoken out to a large audience. But what I want to say to that is that we have to remember that all revolutions, no matter how big or small, requires an individual to stand in the courage of their convictions. So if it is that somebody disagrees with the way, or a man disagrees with the way a situation is handled, unless that person has literally, their conscience is seared so bad that they don't know the difference between right and wrong, you have to have the strength to be able to stand in the courage of your convictions and say, wait a minute, this is not right, this is not it, even if it means standing alone. And you will stand alone for a time. Sometimes it might not change, but I think it requires some level of bravery. And I thank you for being brave enough to say the things that you said, because a lot of men don't necessarily want to admit those things, at the end of the day. When I listened to the conversation, at least, after I was finished doing what I was doing and I was more focused, when I was listening to the conversation about patriarchy in the US, I started to think about my specific environment here in Trinidad, and if it's very similar, if not even more conservative. And I started thinking of in 2018, and this is Caribbean wide too. In 2019, there was a discussion that was called Life in Leggings. And it started with a girl in Barbados who was walking around with leggings and being catcalled by men. And she was talking about how uncomfortable that made her. And it sparked an online discussion throughout the entire English-speaking Caribbean from women who felt the same way. Like, You go out there, you're visually stripped naked. Men will tell you things if you don't respond. They say the worst things to you. There's a saying that you hear in Trinidad called after 12, it's lunch. Meaning that if you're over 12 years old, well, it's lunch. Right? And I remember talking to a guy friend of mine, and he was saying, reading the stories from men, he was wondering, the things that they're saying, he was wondering, am I a bad guy? Because I participated in some of these things. And culturally, what we catcalling a woman, or what we will call suiting a woman, is seen as the norm. And some women respond to it very, very positively. They love it. And others don't. And I started thinking about, those kinds of similarities. And for us here in the Caribbean is a bit the work is going to be hard, because a lot of women, unfortunately, are very, very male-centered. This kind of discussion here will not fly with a typical Trini audience. You will get talk, but at the end of the day, the women always go back to the male-centeredness. And it's so, it's very, very unfortunate in that regard. So I'll say that much about that. With regard to Michelle and Alan, it's two people. And what I realize is that the people who are defending or saying wild shit like they're gonna get back together, or overly defending them, or not seeing the signs, they are literally little people to me. They are young people who don't have the life experience to really see the nuances and see the different things that may have caused the breakup in the relationship, and realize that it's okay. They were good for a while. They have hit a bump. They have decided to part ways. Let's move on. Give them the chance to breathe. Give them the chance to move on. Give them the chance to live. And that's as much as I will say for now. Thank you very much.
Esther, if you're still in here, you're welcome to come up. Sorry, y'all. I was in the. Are you for real, love? I'm asking that question sincerely. Also, those of y'all that are in my comments being weird with cheating rumors, I actually don't care, y'all. I don't actually care. Don't bring that over here. We're not a panel, and we're not a live that's going to get riled up behind alleged cheating rumor. Like, we don't do that over here. There's enough that we saw between the two of them where he never had to fuck on nobody else, and it would still make sense for them to break up. Bye. Please go ahead and give your thoughts.
Yeah, crazy. Wait, I kind of came in late. So what? Because it's a lot is happening, like for the last 3 days in the row. I'm telling you, Mercury retrograde. When are you leaving? Because I need you to get up out of my face. Like, what is going on? So what are we talking about? Because we still on the Chellacer thing?
You could talk about that if you want. We've talked about that a little bit, because I recapped the conversation that I had with the Chellacer last night. We talked about that. And then we were talking, and I was like, oh, it makes sense to introduce this Sunday question that I got. So the Sunday question was about the Diddy documentary, but you can talk about it about Diddy or anybody. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
But how we as a people learn to not be complacent and abused outside of going to the police, and then what we can do to fight against patriarchal norms, and why most men don't speak up.
I feel like the thing with that, especially like in the generation that we're in now, is just, it kind of like, because I'm a history buff. My parents lived through the civil rights movement. My dad was a Black Panther, right? Well, he used to deliver newspapers for him. He was still too young to be up in there, but you can't tell him that. Anyways, so it's like, it just kind of feels like the stories that they used to tell me, it feels like how it is a lot more this year, but just technology is involved. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I feel like people want to be leaders, but wanting and actually going through what it takes to be a leader is two different things. And too many people nowadays are too lazy to go through that. So now they're okay with misinformation. As long as it's appeasing to them and they'll rock with it and they ain't gotta leave their bed, whatever happens, happens. I've heard too many people on this app and even in my own town, like, well, if it ain't got nothing to do with me, I don't want to know about it. And I feel like that's very unfair because if people still thought like that back then, it wouldn't even be legal for me to be talking to you right now. But that doesn't matter to you. Oh, you over here trying to free the slaves, da-da-da-da. What Drake say? I said, don't start with me with that Canadian because my foot's still on his neck. Kendrick gave me a task and I'm on that. Okay, I consider myself a fiery empath assassin because I'm tired of talking to y'all. Y'all don't want to learn words, but y'all want to know everything. Pick a side and stay on it. It does take bravery and it does take confidence, but I feel like it's enough of us who want the same things that we could all rally around each other and boost all of our confidence so that way we are a strong group. And yes, not everybody is going to be okay. There are a few bad apples, but if you got a strong enough group like we do up in here, honey, you ain't going to get nothing but 5 seconds because don't get it messed up. What I say, Tina Assassin up in here now. So who got a problem? Who got a problem? Because I understand the bigger picture, and our kids deserve the best. You know what I mean? I got a god kid on the way, and when I tell you she about to think this whole place is a secret garden, don't play with that. You know what I mean? And it's like people need to start feeling like, you know, us as individuals in a group, in a community are important because the impact that we have is very much stronger than what y'all giving credit for. And I say that to say this because I woke up this morning to a For You page full of R.I.P. Rizzy. Rizzy was a young black girl that had a lot of mental health issues. And she would go on panels and they would drag her. They would make fun of her. She was 100% cyber bully. And she ended up unaliving herself on live the other day. I said, what in the heck is wrong with us? And it starts at the home. And I mean that metaphorically. This where we at right now, we can consider this a home. We feel safe. We can speak up. We can ask questions. You know what I mean? If you need to get checked, we will do it out of love. You get a little feisty, you can leave, but you always are welcome to come back when you get some common sense. You feel what I'm saying? Don't feel bad if you don't know something, and don't feel embarrassed if it's like, you know, you feel like because of your age, you should already know this. We got to stop doing that too. Because not everybody was raised the same. And all of our lives are different. Some of us had to grow up faster. Some of us are still trying to grow up at 45 at the house with their mama and daddy that sleep in separate rooms. You know what I'm saying? But that is not nothing for me to judge you on. And with this kind of platform and the way that things are about to turn, especially with this AI situation, honey, y'all about to be lost in the sauce, and I ain't coming back to get you. So whoever want to go on me, I'm on 10 the best. I already know where I'm at. So you better hurry up, because when that bad boy, I ain't turning, you better not turn this around. They knew what time to be here. We ain't got time. Why you got to be this special that we got to stop for one person? We got to deal with 55,000 people. We need to just go ahead. Just get an island, girl, so we can move. Can we just do that and cut the crabs?
I be saying all the time that, like, I want like a little commune. I would love to have a little commune where we had our own like garden, like grocery store situation happening on where we had nurses that lived there, mental health professionals. Like I would love
like a small town. I'm from a small town. Yes, girl. I'm in my daddy's small raggedy town. Girl, my back say past 10. Girl, Chris, come on, girl. I'm ready to book my flight. Get me out of here. And that's what my take is. I'm ready to go. Because it's only so much talking that we can do. There's almost so much showing up that we can do. And everybody is fussing about the wrong things like, oh, well, da-da-da-da-da, and she wrong, but da-da-da-da. No, every time you say but, whatever you said before but does not matter. So how about this, girl? Kick rocks. No but. Tired of you. You want to be stupid, you stay your behind over here then. Come on, Tina girl. Come on, y'all. Let's go. Everybody in the check. Y'all got your bags. I'm about to pick up my Ola Hyundai and Rose Red, and I'm out. So that's really kind of like where I'm at right now, because that really took me out, Tina. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And y'all over here, and now y'all trying to save y'all. And then it's people who like started off like slow their platforms. You know, everybody had to start somewhere. And I used to follow these people. I had to unfollow 10 of some of my like inspirational creators because I won't stand for that. Mm-hmm. You had anything to do with that, you can't talk to me no more. There's no support coming out of me. And be careful who y'all supporting. Not everybody's going to be perfect, but nobody's not going to learn a lesson if they keep having people supporting their wrongdoings. There's no point for them to change. Yeah. You can't have it both ways, because let me tell you something. My assassin suit stays ready. So if you want to go with her, y'all can kick rocks too. Who else in the way? I'm tired, girl. I'm tired. I'm not even going to lie to you. But let me let somebody else talk, girl, because, ooh, Jesus, I'm mad.
Thank you. I think that's super, super valid. I did not know who Rizzy was, and that is so sad. I will say I've had people inbox me about people they were worried about before, like creators on here. I have thoughts. But anyway, okay. Kepsop, I know you wanted to give your thoughts, and then I'm going to come back to you, Anne.
Hi guys. Rest well to the girl. I've never heard of that creator, so it's a shame that really happened. It's actually quite jarring to hear that she did it on live. Wow. Sorry, that shook me a little bit. So thanks, Vi, for sharing.
Yeah, no problem, girl.
As far as the Diddy thing, where do I begin? I didn't watch the documentary. I have no plans to watch it. I don't believe there's much of a degree of separation between Diddy and 50 Cent, so I don't see why I should be given any attention, any time, any money, anything to either of those people. They deserve the worst. Now, I've been working on this in therapy, so I'm just gonna put it out there because I'm working on saying it. I was a victim of sexual violence, if you will, from when I was 16 to when I was 18, repeated circumstances. And, you know, it's not hard to talk about per se. It's just tricky. Maybe that's the word. It's tricky because you try to be soft with yourself while fighting the voices in your head about all the things that are bad. You know, as someone who's experienced it, I remember the very first time I was, 13 to 18, not 16 to 18. I was very young the first time. And the first time, it was a very big day for my family. My father had gotten the biggest, promotion anyone could get. He was the head of something in society, but it was huge. There was a lot of money coming into our family. But that night when we got the news, big news, that was the first time I was raped in my life. That was my first ever sexual experience. I was 13. I think before anyone tells you how to feel in your body, your immediate reaction is fear and shame. Like you are sort of covering yourself from, you know, the first thing I did was hide in my sister's room. That was the first. I didn't have any frame of reference of what to do. I think I saw my sister as safety, so that was where I sought for safety. I think that was the first thing. So I'm trying to be gentle with myself as I talk about this, because I try to disengage from a lot of the conversation. I know it's not, you try your best not to be, what's the word? Not to be, I forget the word, not neutral. Neutral is not the word I'm looking for, but what is the word for when you're trying not to feel something? Or, I forget. But, I try to just stay away from it, even though I have so much empathy for Cassie and all the women that, you know, Diddy has violated. I try to just stay away from it. And it's one of the biggest reasons why I've just been, I'm with you, Tina, on just not supporting everybody black. I'm sorry. It's not interesting to me. All of my violators were black people. Black men specifically. So I don't have any, I don't believe in all of those things. And I don't want to sound defeatist. I really, really don't. But I don't think there is anything we can do except for men understanding that women are people. You have to see the humanity in me to give me the grace to not strip me of mine. There is no, I don't think there is nothing that we can do to really fight anything or to complacency is actually the only way to fight complacency is if you see me as a person who deserves all of my human rights, all of my dignity, all of myself, all of my body, all of my wits. If you're stripping me of those liberties, you don't see me as a person worthy to walk this earth as you. You don't see me as equal to you, so therefore you don't see any problem in stripping me of those liberties. That's just the way I feel. And I'm not saying, I don't mean to be defeatist in the way of like, oh, there's nothing we can do. I think that's the base level of what we can do. And I think the way we can counteract it is, I agree with Chris, and I appreciate you, Chris, for speaking on this, I actually do. I'm sorry, it clocked to me when Chris was speaking that you're Christina and it's Chris, and it's Chris and Chris. That's funny. Sorry. It was just a funny tidbit. But when Chris was speaking, I was like, yeah, that's nice. Men can keep talking about it within themselves, I guess. That's something they could do. But I think for women, I think we just need to take care of each other. We need community. It took me 11 years to tell my mother what happened to me. And even then, she didn't have a frame of reference as to what to do. It broke her, and it continued to break me because she didn't know what to do. It continued to like widen the divide between us because she didn't react the way I would have expected to, which is to protect me, like, you know, to further protect me, cut off those relationships, because there were men in my family, blood relatives, yes, who did these things to me. And she didn't cut them off. They all showed up at my sister's wedding, and I was like, what the hell? So like it's those kind of things that like, she didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. And so it didn't help either way. But I think if we have community, one thing I did have was my sister, who was ready to scorch earth when I told her. And I was a big woman at that point. So like, she was ready to burn everything down and kill everyone, which, oh, sorry, I can't say that word. But like, she was ready, F1, sorry. But she was ready to like, to take on the mantle. And I think, honestly, that's my number one way to counteract it is, you know, if you're in a position where you feel like you need to, if your life or another person's, choose yours. I will never, you know, like degrade a woman for doing that. Like, you can choose your life over another's. That's okay. I will say though about fighting patriarchal norms, I think we have to be honest with ourselves, to be honest, personally to me. I think we need to have a hard look in the mirror because we are all ingrained with patriarchy, all of us. So we need to actually flush it out of ourselves, which is hard to do. It's hard. If you talk to a 5-year-old today and ask her what she should be, she'll tell you she wants to have a doll, be a mother and a wife. At 5, she has no other aspirations but to have a cooking set and to have a baby doll that she can dress up and to do the things and to wear pink and to have all of these societal norms pumped into her at 5 years old. So we just need to be more honest with ourselves. Like, if we are to actually do anything about the norms in society at large, let's start with us, within ourselves, within our homes, like within our small communities, and then we can say like, okay, we look at our government cabinets and be like, why are there so many men here? What have they done to improve the lives of women? Then but we have to start within each and every one of us. Like, you know, I've been fighting with like myself this year a lot. I realized actually, as I was doing a recap of my year, and I was thinking, I've been fighting with myself about like what I want, what the things I want, because from 9 years old, I knew I didn't want to be a wife or a mother. But like, I was like, okay, so what do I want in life? Because as a Nigerian, that's the first thing people will ask you, like, you don't want to be a wife, you don't want to be a mom, what will you do with your life? And I started responding to aunties in my life as like, nothing. I will be a vagabond. I will do nothing with my life. And they look at me like jarring, like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, because your question is stupid. What do you mean, what will I do with my life if I'm not with a man? It makes no sense. But because we're so ingrained within ourselves about the things that we want, about the colors, it's almost like we don't have things that we like of our own. We are taught to want things. And then, like, I was listening to a podcast with 2 Nigerian women. They're wonderful. It's called I Said What I Said, if anyone wasn't interested. And this week's episode, I haven't finished listening to all of it, but it was talking about, like, are we all planning our lives around our wedding days? And that in itself is a patriarchal norm. Like, you're planning around your life around a child you may never have, that you're not even sure if you can have, and a man that you may never meet, you're not even sure you will meet. And that's your whole life, like all your job, your graduation, your love of yourself, your love of your family, everything is like around this these two structures that we must have as women. Our only value in life is to produce more people and to serve more men. That's it. There's nothing they really truly, if we strip it down to the basics, no matter what achievements we make, that's all people will still remember us for. You know, a woman can want to go to the highest offices in the land and they'd ask her if she has a family. Like, you know, I was 18 years old, like interviewing for jobs, and people would ask me like, so do you plan to, like, you know, settle down at 18? What does that have to do with anything in my life? Like, and you know, you don't realize that these things are infiltrating everything that we do, but it starts with ourselves. Both men and women, we need to purge out this systematic ideals that we have before we can look at society at large and say like, okay, these are the towers we need to strip down. And I think that, like, if we start with ourselves and we start with the young children in our lives, like both boys and girls and, you know, everything in the middle, not to diminish, like, I mean, like, non-binary people, I don't mean to diminish, but like, I mean, like, if we actually look within ourselves and honor that, like, we have so many things to change within us, then we can look to society at large and say like, okay, these are the norms that we need to strip to benefit all of us at once. But I don't know if the people who hold the power, men, are willing to let go of the power. They can they can say and do whatever it is they want. They can, you know, like, have a quota of women they want to hire every day. But do they really want to relinquish it? I don't know. And you know, I don't know what that means. And I'm sorry if this sounds defeatist and if this isn't what people wanted to hear, I apologize. But like, that's just how I see the world. Like with the Diddy thing, off with both of them, I don't care. And I wish the women, you know, like that were violated, so much peace and so much, I'm searching for the peace myself, so I wish it for all of us. But, you know, like, as far as the patriarchy, I think it almost feels like we may never get there, but I really, really hope we do. And I hope that, like, the new generation, especially Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and the way that they have a bit about themselves. I like the way they are about themselves. Like, you know, we have a lot of criticisms for Gen Z, but like, I think that they're like letting go of a lot of rubbish. They're not taking all the petty stuff a loss. Like, you know, maybe they're not perfect. I agree. But like, I feel like they have a lot more, core strength within the society than maybe the rest of us do. So hopefully, like, we can all learn from each other, both millennials, Gen Z. I feel like the older generations, I'm sorry, sometimes we just have to let people die and go away. But for the ones who are coming up, especially because I have nephews and godsons who are coming up, I try my best to like strip those ideals of, like, you know, what a woman can be, what a person can be, and teach them like just empathy and grace and love to everybody, you know. And hopefully that might be the start to changing things as we go forward. But like, let's just be kinder and have community with each other. Maybe that will help. But yeah, that's it. Thank you, Tina.
I do want to say, I know I made a face. I'm not trying to be critical of Gen Z or Gen Alpha. I'm a fan of, like, people are going to be whoever they were raised by until they learn to be somebody different than that. And so I do see a lot of, like, very conservative viewpoints from younger generation that doesn't make sense to me. And I do think that, like, also, I think you're going to have a mixed bag no matter what. Right. But I do see a lot of conservatism that it, like, is interesting to me with the younger gen. Like, that's not what I would expect.
I agree, though. You are right to say that. No, I do agree. Especially in the white males. But I do think that, like, it's not the overwhelming majority, in my opinion. You know what? I don't really care about what the white males are doing. I care about what the black girls are doing. And the black girls are actually doing all right for the most part. They're actually doing all right. They're actually having a bit. And even for tiny things, like, sorry, I just want to put this tidbit and I'll go away. But for tiny things, like in Nigerian society, if a girl is speaking out, you're automatically rude. Even it doesn't matter the value or the quantity of what you're saying. Just because you decided to have a voice, you are automatically decided as you are rude. And I love that my younger Nigerian girls are saying, fuck off. Actually, I will speak my mind. You will not bully me. You will not berate me. And you will not just like lead me around and shove me around and tell me to cook for my brothers. Why can't they get up and do it? And I appreciate that so, so much, because like, yes, I was one of the lucky ones as a millennial that was how my family was. Like, my mother did not take that rubbish of like, my brothers will sit there and your siblings will serve them, even in Nigerian like conclave. But like, I'm noticing a lot of younger Black girls like in the diaspora, like just being like, you know what, I don't deserve this rubbish, so I will not take it. And you know, I wish that can continue to like propagate within our people and our girls, because like they deserve so much more, especially for their voices to be heard. So yeah, that's it.
I agree. I think that to a lot of people's points, Beatrice said it best, that the slide toward conservatism is absolutely attached to social media. I think it's why we experience Alan the way that we experience him, and people like tease or say like he was a COVID high schooler. And it's not always about teasing. It's about putting into perspective for people how young he actually is. But you also need to remember, and I posted about it before, it's a PBS documentary. It was like, they had clips of it here on TikTok where they talk about how the rise of this language, this very anti-woman, this very like red-pilled rhetoric was making that rise during COVID, when all of these kids are at home on their computers for school and have access to all of this social media. TikTok explicitly really blowing up during that time. And so it's why you have a 22-year-old like Alan that like, yeah, it don't sound the same way, but if you're someone that knows what that looks like, which goes back to, again, you need to even be able to identify what those norms are, what those patriarchal things are, you're able to see the harm in some of the ways that he moves and the things that he says and does. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they had so much access to, you know, this shit when they were home for COVID. I will also say it's why you hear people saying things like Black American English, AAVE, whatever you want to call it, right, is Gen Z slang. And it's not Gen Z slang. You just have more access to us because social media exists. You wouldn't have heard us speaking this way if it was a result of you talking like the people that you go to school with. Right. But because social media exists, now you have so much access into other cultures, which should be a positive thing, except when then appropriation comes into play and you try to strip it from the cultures that it belongs to. So, yes, I think that and it goes back to like how you were raised. And I talked explicitly about my 13-year-old telling me, like, I remember that stuff scrolling across because I've been one of those parents that I let my kids have access to social media. Y'all could judge me. But he's like, I remember seeing those things and I always would just scroll because I knew that y'all raised me better than that. And like that didn't relate to me. And he would have been like 7 or 8 at the time. But so it again goes back to how are you being raised in your home for whether or not they're going to be susceptible to certain things. And I'm going to let you share your thoughts, but I do want to say this. I need us to get to 350K likes. I'm going to give us the next 2 minutes to do that because it's not that far from it. And then